that Optic have to get through to make this possible. Renegade intentionally curb slides off the map to turn and get...
Dad!
How did he plan for that to end?
It has been a blender of Optic Gaming. Green, carrot, celery, turmeric, juice. As FaZe Clan continues to wipe the floor with them. Cleanup on aisle 5, but it might just be Hill 4 that secures game 1 for FaZe. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tied the Leader, this time live on LVT Halo. I'm Mikowski, and joining me in every episode is my duo since 04, Eli the Ninja. And Eli, throughout this podcast, we've had the chance to document some of the most iconic moments in Halo history, but tonight, we get to react in real time to what we just saw in the Optic Major Qualifier, where Shopify cements themselves as the top team going into Season 4. Eli, I gotta ask, your instant thoughts. What stood out to you here today?
What stood out to me is Shopify's clutch factor. I mean, these two teams could not be any closer matched. We did the math, and they've played 40 games against each other in tournaments, and it's a dead even tie, 20-20. The difference,
Wow.
Shopify is winning when it matters, though. They've won 3 out of the 4. Optic was the only one. They only won the first one. So I guess Shopify showing their clutch factor, at least online, and I'm curious to see how this all transfers over to LAN.
Yeah, what does that all mean? Because if 3 out of 4 go to Shopify, but in the game's total, it's 20-20, does that mean that Optic are resetting the bracket but not clutching up in the end game? Like, how does the math add up there? Because it ain't mathing to me.
I mean, Optic, I think when they won, it was 10 games. They won winners finals 3-2, grand finals 3-2. So they were up by 2 after that one. The next one, Shopify come back. They kind of do the same thing. And then the last 2, actually, no, I think the second one, Shopify resets the bracket. I don't know, man. To be honest, I can't recall it all. I do know that the maths up to 20-20.
We're all going to rack our brains around how Optic and Rebellion are just so close. But somebody's got to take the #1 seed going into HCS Arlington, and that is Rebellion. Now, it wouldn't be an episode of Tied the Leader without a very special guest joining us. And joining us this evening for the duration of the show is Mikwen. Austin, how we doing, my man?
What's up? Good, how about you?
Doing good, doing good. We're going to get your hot takes as well, and I'm just going to throw it right at you. What stood out the most to you in the lead-up to the major qualifier here today?
I mean, probably 3 things, but the first thing probably was going to be the fact that Optic getting second 3 times in a row. I don't think anybody really expected that. And then the next thing is how strong FaZe is, I think. I think FaZe is proving to people that, like, flashiness isn't necessarily success. They're just kind of fundamental and do things right and seem to be the 3rd best team at the moment.
Well, we'd love to have one of Halo's all-time greats joining us on the show tonight. If you're a Halo pro who's cooling down after the tournament is concluded and you want to jump on and share your hot takes or just shoot the shit with us, pop into the Discord and let us know. We'll have Isaac, our producer, pull you up. But you're right, Mikwen. I think it's pretty intriguing looking back at the Roster Mania formal hurricane. It all started because he was sick of getting second place.
Yeah.
And now he gets an even more godlier God squad,
and he's still
stuck getting second place. And this is no trash talk to Formal. I am a Formal stan. I am probably biased to see Formal succeed. I love the dude. But there's no doubting the math and the results that we've seen. Eli, how are we still seeing Optic come up short with second place finishes?
I don't know, man. It's perplexing to me, too. I thought we would see Optic take at least one more of these online tournaments, but they just haven't been able to close out for some reason. I mean, they won the first series of Grand Finals 3-0 in convincing fashion, and then something just falls apart. I don't know if if Shopify turns on the afterburners, if they get the second wind of energy, or if Optic is running out of energy. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could look at it, but I guess before I throw it back to you, I just want to give everybody who's watching a warm welcome. Thank you guys so much. I know that the YouTube stream, we got 900 people in here, so thank you. Welcome everybody here. So today the show, it's going to be pretty laid back. We're going to be vibing, talking about the tournament as a whole. We're going to watch some clips and break those down as well, and then have some special guests. I know Piggy said that he was down to come on. Shout out to Luminosity, who have finished in the 5th seed for the major qualifier, which is massive. I think that's probably the highest like surprise that we see is Luminosity finding their spot in 5th, but they absolutely earned it. But yeah, just a quick overview of what's to come today. And I think Austin, maybe you have somebody else in your DM that might be joining us. Hopefully,
maybe, possibly. Yeah. Hopefully soon we get an answer. We'll keep it a surprise for now.
Cool. Well, yeah, again, an invite to any Halo pros that are tuning in, watching. You want to jump on the show, come on with it. We know in Call of Duty, they do something similar to this. It's called the flank. And now this isn't just a copy pasta of the flank. It's more Tide the Leader than flank, obviously. But we want to deliver, I think, that content that has been really overwhelmingly successful over there in Call of Duty, right? Having a little cooldown period to talk your talk and, you know, break down what we just saw. So, speaking of what we just saw, let's break down the tournament results. We got taken first place. Where am I here? Eli, I see in your message it looks like first place was Optic. Was that who you were expecting to win?
You didn't switch it.
Yeah, I mean, I made this after they 3-0'd the first one.
Interesting enough. So let's rotate Optic out.
Damn, bias caster exposed.
Just exposed Eli's bias. There we go. We just saw the edit come through on our Discord. So first place, Shopify. Second, Optic. And keep in mind, all of these tournament results will be the seeds you take into Arlington. So huge day here of online Halo as FaZe, boy, oh boy, did it look like they might steal a spot in the grand finals today. Optic got to Game 5 twice. FaZe won the first one, but the second one, which is more consequential since it was in the lower bracket, Optic ended up winning pretty handily, but still, to see Optic fight that hard for that series win, I think really doesn't so much speak to how Optic is falling back as it is how far forward I think FaZe is catapulting in the HCS rankings. We had SSG looked a little hot and cold here, not only today, but all throughout the offseason leading into the first major, taking home 4th place. Luminosity, man. Wow. I am so excited to talk to Piggy because there's been a lot of talk on the outside looking in of that top 4. Who's going to be the biggest threat? Who's going to be in that 5th, 6th spot? For now, it's Luminosity and TSM, who is part of that pure top 4 World Championship roster from last year, and the top 3 World Championship run in Native Red back in Season 1. So TSM is very intriguing. In the 7th seed, you've got Nemesis. And I think we definitely need to have a little segment talking about the international competition, because if you were getting top 8 as an NA squad, Eli, I don't think it means you're going to be getting top 8 of these majors, because there are several international teams that could compete. Coming in at 8th, a little surprising, because it looked like Cloud9 was maybe forming that Luminosity-like run here today. They'll take the 8th seed. Trigger's down in the 9th seed. They had a nice placement here today. We got Reversal Perfy via points taking the 10th seed. Pipa taking the 11th. And then rounding out pool play is Complexity. Eli, after breaking down all the results here from throughout the day, what was the most surprising result that you see here on the screen?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me, I guess, just shout out Ashman, who's the one that made this spreadsheet. This is actually the pre-tournament today seedings. That's why this doesn't line up with what Mikowski just said. So everything that's on your screen right now, this was before today's tournament, but what Mikowski just said is going to be the seeds going in. Isaac, could you actually pull up the, I just put it, the last image that I put in the Discord with the pools. This is a screenshot from Ashman. I've been DMing him as well. But yeah, so this, just fill in NA Qual 1. That's going to be Shopify. NA Qual 2, that's going to be Optic. But these are ultimately going to be the pools that we see at Arlington. So you asked me what my biggest surprise was. It's probably Luminosity. I mean, I've been the one that's singing their praises for a while now. Shout out to my man, Thug Nasty, who is actually my coworker that I work with every single day. He's been coaching Luminosity and excited about them. I think Piggy is extremely underrated and needs more people to pay attention to the talent that this man has. Avicii is kind of like that new up-and-coming player that I'm really excited about it. I think he's only like 17 years old, and he's absolutely insane at the video game. He started streaming as well, so you guys need to follow Avicii on Twitch and watch the man play. He's insane. Then, of course, you've got Yaxon and Mortally. These guys are all it's a very young squad, but led by the leadership of Piggy. They secured themselves a top 6 finish today, which will earn them the 5th seed in the tournament. They're I guess reward for that, though, is they're going to have to play against Space Station in Pool D and Complexity. I think that they might be upset alert, though. I could actually see them taking Space Station the distance, and they might put the hurting on Complexity. We'll have to see.
Let's talk about Complexity, Austin, because Complexity, a team that seemed to be falling out of the picture when these open series first began in the lead up to Arlington, but they finished with the top 6. And then kind of fell back a little bit. Where exactly does Complexity lie? Are they more of a top 6 team, a top 12 team, or something in between?
Yeah, I think they have a pretty wide range, right? I think it's like you look at that whole team, and I know that like they've all been kind of up and down minus mental, but yeah, I don't. It's like they could randomly end up with a top 4 if they're all firing on the same cylinders, and then they could randomly go like top 12. I feel like they definitely probably had the widest range in terms of placing, skill ceiling, floor. Like it seems when they're not playing well, they're really not playing well though. Some of those series, it's like last week they're 3-0 in TSM and they're looking really good and they're playing hot, and then this week it's just like I don't know, just kind of back to not being able to like really win many games.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough sledding, I think, for Complexity. It's wild because Complexity, if you just look at from a just win perspective, granted this is in Gears of War, right? So it's another title, but they're probably the winningest team in the HCS. Like you're looking at 30 competitive LAN titles between multiple players on that team. Even the coach Ashes, I think, has won 25 LAN championships. So they've got the experience. I think it's all about pulling it together. I think Huss is going to be the X factor for me, because Huss can be that dude. He can almost be like in a cycle role where you expect him to lay up with assists and provide a lot of damage, but when he's frying, dude, he's doing both.
He's playing really well.
And, I noticed that about his gameplay. Looking at Luminosity, I want to bring the conversation back to Luminosity. I love the composition of this squad, and I think, Mikwen, you can speak to this, having been a grizzled veteran in your own right, teaming with some up-and-coming Halo players throughout Halo Infinite. You've got Piggy, who has really started to take on a leadership role, has really formed into that captain, IGL type of guy, forming this squad with Avicii, Mortally, and Yaxon. These are players that some in the chat may have never heard of. These are raw, up-and-coming, mega talented Halo players. What is that perspective like when you're a veteran and you got 3 guys who are on the come up? What's the mindset for Piggy as we have him joining us here in a little bit? Give us a little sneak peek into how he might be feeling right now.
I think I remember seeing him tweet right before, I forget exactly when it was, but basically he's like, I don't think I've had a team with more than like 2 months of practice or something since year 1 or some crazy stat. And yeah, I think his mindset was probably, let's find people that aren't going to try and bounce around and want to stick with a team, and let's grind this shit out and like figure it out. And all those dudes are kind of like, they're not really like whiny. They're not really like, you can tell they're like excited to get on and play Halo. So I'm not really surprised necessarily. Like if you play a lot of matchmaking and match against a lot of these guys, like those 4 specifically, like you know that they're good, right? Like they know how to shoot, they know how to move on the map, they know how to communicate, all those type of things. So it's not surprising that like, they get together and they're grinding it out and they're practicing really hard. They're taking scrims super serious and not really like there's no nonsense almost. That's usually a recipe for a form of success. So yeah, I think composition wise, work ethic wise, probably Piggy was looking for something that was just going to be like, you're not going to try to team hop. Points don't really matter. Let's just like practice and place well. And it seems to have worked out.
Speaking of team hop, Eli, let's talk about a team that was projected to have some hoppers on it, right? Lethal, self-admittedly, a little behind the 8 ball when the offseason started, didn't reach out to any of his homies in the HCS to try to get on squads. So he was sort of left with this last resort roster. But I don't know, man. When you look up and down at that roster and their placings, this is a squad, man. Descendant, Ezo, and Collect. A lot like that Luminosity squad. Granted, Piggy ain't got nothing as it relates to veteran leadership on Lethal. Love Piggy, but Lethal's been, the modern-day Halo GOAT for a long time. But it's similar along that line of thought where you got one guy who's been there, done that, and then three relatively unknown up-and-coming players. Where do we feel the two of those two teams line up? I think Luminosity obviously higher in the standings right now, but should we be on the lookout for a Triggers down team that's towards the bottom of those top 10 standings, but seems to have a whole lot of promise?
Mikowski, you just asked me the longest question I think I've ever been asked in my life. But I'm excited about this roster, to say the least. Lethal is still the GOAT. I mean, I'm pretty sure he yelled at us for saying, "Oh, he's back." Like, he's like, "What the hell do you mean? I never left, bro." Which, like, to his credit, he didn't. But bro, you weren't in the off season. You gotta be in all these tournaments if you want us to always talk about you. But I'm excited about Ezo. I feel like Ezo, this is one of the first times, or like one of the biggest like opportunities that a relative unknown has gotten in quite some time. I mean, anybody that's paying attention knows who he is, but pretty much just getting picked up from the open bracket and thrust onto a top 8 team. I mean, he's going to be playing in pools. So props to him. Descendant's been getting it done since season 1, kind of a slow start. I don't know. There's a lot of upside with this team for sure. But real quick, I want to... Apparently we have Frosty and VMix, but he's not in our Discord chat. Can we get him in the Discord call so we can hear him as well?
Oh, shit.
Okay, we're getting him in here. So, but yeah, this whole shakeup here in the pools is going to be interesting. I mean, Triggers Down going to be in that pool with Cloud9 and Shopify. That's a tough pool if you ask me. I think the Triggers Down look good, but Cloud9 probably a tier above them for now. But there's a lot of time until Arlington. These guys are going to have plenty of time to practice and figure things out. And I feel like by the time Arlington comes around, these teams might look entirely different.
Yeah, we do have about a month until the first LAN, so there is still plenty of time to get your scrims in, get your VOD review going, and just get some more time in with your teammates. Austin, I want to ask, looking at the results of the major qualifier here today, who surprised you most in a positive sense, and who disappointed most?
Surprised most, probably FaZe. I think back-to-back Game 5s with Optic and, kind of cementing that they're a lot stronger than I think people gave them credit for. Because kind of what you were saying early on. So we thought, I think when everyone saw the roster mania, it was like everyone thought we'd see Optic, SSG, and then like Shop or FaZe was like kind of 3 or 4, right? And I think most people would have probably said that FaZe was 4.
Yeah, I'm
sure we'll talk about SSG a lot at some point, but I think FaZe is like, it's not really like surprising to necessarily to me, but it is like the most surprising I think story going into Arlington, and really the case on LAN actually. And like the most disappointing would probably be, I mean, honestly, TSM. I think over this qualifier stretch, I think I think those guys are a lot better than their placings they're showing right now, and which is surprising because they've all teamed together, and like it shouldn't be like a Kim thing. So definitely something going on, but I think them like, and I just expect a lot better from them over the stretch of Infinite than what they've shown. And granted, it's online, and I think those dudes do level up on LAN, so there's that piece for sure. But yeah, either them or Complexity, I would say, are probably like the most disappointing on paper teams. And then I think you can say SSG as well, but I'm less worried about them.
Eli, what do you think?
SSG is getting better and better. They're showing signs of brilliance. I feel like they're not as comfortable as the other rosters right now. That feels like they're kind of like stutter stepping and like hesitating in certain interactions.
A lot of
that
hesitate.
Yeah, like and you just can't hesitate. I mean, even like what, a fifth of a second is a long time in Halo Infinite, it feels
one accidental sprint and look the wrong way is like full map control for the other team.
It's the tiniest margins are winning these games, and it just feels like SSG is overloaded with talent, but somehow not quite super comfortable enough to just play without overthinking. It feels like they're almost overthinking, overanalyzing, They've got analysis paralysis, and once they can like start to just trust their natural Halo instincts and just advance around the map and put themselves in the right positions like they know they can, I could see them winning tournaments. Like, I mean, this team has an insane amount of talent. It's just like they have to figure that out.
I think the case on land will help them a lot, but
True.
kind of figuring stuff out, that type of stuff out, chemistry and hanging out together and getting a better field vibe, better comms, being all together, like that stuff goes a long way. Because I mean, I don't want to say the case on tournaments like a throwaway, but at the end of the year, like, what do people think about the case on land? Unless the team like wins all 6 tournaments or whatever, how many there is this year, then it's like, holy shit, they won everything. But I don't think people really care about the case on land. So I think that's good practice for like all the teams. But I think SSG will probably benefit the most from that land.
That's an interesting point. That outside of the game itself, but this might just be great for SSG just to spend some more time going to Chick-fil-A to pick up a meal, right? Like, it's those moments out of the game that provide you with instant chemistry and an instant response to know, I know exactly what he's doing without him having to say a word to me. We've discussed this in our sleep and at Chick-fil-A and before the game, after the game, all that good stuff. So I think that's kind of interesting to note that just more time outside of the game might be the biggest benefit to SSG, which is something they'll get at the case on land. So I do think that we're shaping up towards a big 4 this season. It's not there quite yet. I think you have Optic and Rebellion clearly in the top 2. FaZe, I'd say in a tier of its own now in 3rd, and then SSG kind of nipping at the heels. They've shown promise, but they've just been so helter-skelter, so hot and cold. It's hard to really, say that they're an established big 4, even though they probably already are just with the names alone on that squad. Austin, we've always had a big 3 in Halo Infinite. Do you think we expand beyond that in Season 4? And how deep could it go?
Hold on. I'm going to interrupt and not let Austin answer that because I think we might have our guest here. So let me just ask Frosty, can you hear us? Are you there, Frosty? I can't hear him if he's talking. Oh, he's not talking. Okay. Sir Bradley Bergstrom, paging Dr. Bradley. Is Dr. Bradley available? Okay, he might be out of the office. He's probably popping the champagne bottle and like just pouring it all over his face right now. He's just that type of dude. Can you imagine?
Is that like the meme where the guy's like down at he's like 9th place, but he's like got popping the champagne, dousing it on his face. He just won an online tournament.
Yeah.
Still plenty to celebrate, though. So we'll try to get Frosty back on the line here as soon as he's available. We're working behind the scenes, getting the kinks sorted out.
Doing it live.
We're doing it live. That's true.
Doing it live. That's right. We're doing it live. I thought I heard Brad for a second. I got excited.
Wait, hello?
Oh, hey, I did hear him.
Hey,
There he is.
How's it going,
going on,
brother?
bro?
How we feeling, man?
Feeling good, feeling good. Long day.
Well, you've had a lot of long days here in the last couple of weeks. I want to talk about something that Eli and I have brought up, on the broadcast, and it's the time in, right? You guys were the first team of 4 to form and get right to work. And we heard on the Optic podcast here as recent as last week, Bound saying, I don't even know what he thinks the callouts are for this map. You guys had that down pat half a year ago. So I really think it points to how much more, not necessarily committed you guys are to the game, but just how much more time in that you've put into the game. I want to hear from you yourself. Has that benefited you guys? It's not the end-all be-all, sure, but have you guys noticed, like, wow, it feels like we click a little bit better. It feels like our timing is better. It feels like we execute better in the end game. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, because like a lot of that stuff is kind of just like word of mouth and kind of like how you look at the narratives. I'd say with like the call out stuff, like specifically they were talking about like one call out, right? They didn't know. And that's gonna happen whenever you're transitioning to like a new team. So stuff like that, I feel like is kind of like blown out of proportion. I feel like our team, like we kind of just gelled together instantly. I feel like a lot of people think because we played in like those off-season tournaments, right? Like we just gained a lot of chem and like we were going over stuff from the jump. But I feel like, I mean, I don't know, like you can ask my teammates this, but I mean, we were just hopping on as if it was like a glorified AIDS, you know what I mean? We were kind of just like not talking about anything. We were going into those just like playing as a team and having fun. So I guess like chem-wise, that probably helps in that way. But like I feel like we weren't really dialing in like game plans or talking about things of like how we wanted to play certain situations or anything like that. I feel like when we really started to improve as a team was just when everybody started scrimming. So I don't know. I personally wouldn't say we had like a big jump on like going over stuff, or like we were really like ahead of the gate in that way. But I don't know. I feel like we just gel as a team. We work really well together, and we have a lot of fun playing together, and like our mindsets of improving and just overall trying to win the game, like they line up very well together.
Love that. And let me backtrack a second, because I feel like Mikowski just like as soon as you join, he's just down your throat asking you a question. So let's start over the
loaded question.
Let's start off the correct way and say, first of all, congratulations for winning the tournament today. I'm sure you're exhausted, and we've got the pools now solidified, and we've done a lot of math actually about you guys versus Optic. Are you guys aware that you've now played Optic in 40 games in tournament, and you guys are dead split 20-20?
Really?
It's kind of insane how close you guys are. Yeah, but you guys have obviously won more of the games that mattered at the end of the tournament, and were able to take down 3 of the 4. What's it like playing against Optic? Like, does it feel like this chess battle? Because that's kind of what it looks like from the outside looking in. Like, it's just a battle of who can get the most out of their advantage states, and then who plays better off of their back foot. Like, what does it feel like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like we know they're a good team, obviously, and we're kind of expecting to be playing them and matching up against them a lot throughout the year. I think when we play against them, I mean, at least my mindset is just like focusing on myself and my team. Like, obviously, whatever the other team is going to do, they're going to do, right? So it's like we can learn their tendencies and try to counter that stuff. But as long as we're on the same page and doing the things that we talk about, and just like overall using good teamwork, I feel like it doesn't go in like as into depth as you would think, if that makes sense.
Like, you're just kind of playing your game and taking it one step at a time. That makes sense to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like every life
Yeah,
you think about, like you just squeeze every life out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Those Grueler series that we had, like that's, I mean, same
Yeah.
vibe.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Dude,
Yeah.
like it was
Like,
like
you're not
one
really
death
thinking
could
about
be
what
the
the other team's
series.
doing.
Yeah, you're like, I'm trying not to scam. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
You also said something in your first answer about having fun, and this is something that I've brought up on the broadcast. I don't know if you care enough to like go back and listen to the commentary of the games that you played and whatnot, but I said that the superpower of your team is just how much fun you guys have together. Like, I'll watch Lashad scream, and you guys are just like laughing and giggling. Like, Lashad does the thing where he's like just fake panicking all of his call outs. They're just like repeating things. Just, dead. He saw me. I'm so dead. Like, I don't know. He just gets in this crazy, like, silly,
dead?
goofy mood. Yeah, exactly. Dead. Like, I don't know. He's so funny. And to me, from an outside perspective, it feels like that energy has like kind of made you play even better, because I think that it's no secret you're not the biggest fan of this game, and maybe haven't been as focused or locked in as you have maybe in Halo 5. But like, it feels like you're now like in your final form. I don't know. Is that fated to say that the young energy around you has made you play even better?
I'm sure you can give some credit to that. I mean, I will say, like, now I love this game. Like, even last year, it probably didn't seem like it, but last year I started like really liking this game. Like, I mean, I feel like even after the first year, right, I was complaining a lot, but eventually, like, as a competitor, I'm playing this game every single day. Like, you kind of just have to enjoy what you're doing. So, like, I genuinely love this game now, and like, I have a lot of fun competing in it. That's like the main thing, right? It's just like I genuinely have a lot of fun competing, but obviously with the team vibes, like, I feel like everybody's just like a hilarious human. Like, everybody loves being around each other. Everybody has a lot of fun, and like, we're constantly laughing. Like, waiting for this grand finals today, right? We had to wait like probably like 3 series or whatever, and like, we're just sitting here like warming up, like losing our minds basically, but like, we're just like chatting, like saying random things, just like having a blast basically. And like, I don't know, it's just fun playing the game with each other. And then also like our outside vibes, like it's still the same thing. Like, we just have a lot of tomfoolery going on.
Frosty, talk me through the thought process. As a former Halo World Champion, most world champs team with other world champs. You'd see in some cases a team of 4 and everybody's got a ring. Your team's different, though. You've got Royal 2 alongside you. Of course, he's got a couple. But last shot in cycle, no rings, no LAN wins, and I don't even know if any LAN Grand Finals appearances. What went into the thought process to give these two guys a chance, and you feel like you made the right call so far?
Yeah, definitely think we made the right call. I think, I mean, first of all, I'm very thankful for like even getting a spot on this team, because like I wasn't the one who created the team or anything like that. Like I was just picked up. But I mean, it was definitely a team where like everybody wanted to make this team work, and I think definitely like having the 2 young guns and then having like me and Matt, who have teamed together for so long and have been competing for so long, definitely makes a huge difference. I feel like the way competitive esports as a whole is moving in like the direction it's moving, it's kind of like the young guns are kind of making a name for themselves, putting themselves on the map, and you know what I mean? Like those stars are starting to come from the woodworks and taking over. So I feel like Cycle and Last Shot, they're so good, even though they're really, really young. It's like these are the new players that are going to be taking over the scene whenever like everybody starts fizzling out. But I feel like we have a really good mix because of that. Like 2 young guns and then 2 like I guess like veteran players. It's a pretty good mix.
No, it's really fun to watch you guys play, honestly. I am excited to see how things shape up on land. We do have like I said before, the pool's now set. I don't know if you've even seen these yet, but it looks like your pool is going to be Cloud9, Triggers down, and then whatever team makes it out last in the open bracket. So how do you feel about your pool looking at it first glance?
I mean, I kind of like that. Cloud9's good. Triggers down is good, obviously. Like I like having pretty decent pools. It gives you something to look forward to on Friday, so you can kind of show up and kind of get in the groove of things. I feel like it's going to be a really good test for us, being like the first time, or I guess Kason would be the first land, but like the first major event, right? Like going into pools, playing good teams, it's going to give us a lot of good reps going into the event.
For sure. And speaking of the Kason land, this next weekend, I want to say it's in Texas, probably not too far from you. How are you feeling about that? Are you excited for next weekend?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it's super cool to be able to have something like this. Just top 4 teams. It's going to be very fun to watch, I feel like. Just like all the top teams going at it. And then obviously the experience that, I mean, honestly, every team's going to get. It's going to be cool to see, because every single team made a change. It's going to be cool to see everybody kind of battling it out for the first time.
Are you guys going to be playing the new S&D game type? Or is that going to be a show match? Or do you guys have any insight on that?
I'm hearing something about a show match. I know they're trying to push it. I mean, I'm not going to... I'm not gonna say my opinions just yet, but like I don't know. I mean, we already got a soul added. You know what I mean? Like I'm scrimming like 19 game types or something like that.
Aren't you excited to be in a 1v3? So you got
like
bro,
I
you
left
got like
COD
bound
already,
and
man.
formal
Like, I'm back
posted
to
up with a
Halo.
shock rifle.
Oh, okay. Listen, if we play show match at the case online or whatever, like I'm just spamming like the newbiest stuff at all times. So like I'm buying
yeah.
like shock
Break that
grenades.
shit
Like
for
I'm
sure.
buying 100%.
Just break the
Like,
shit out of it.
I'm making it as newbie as possible.
Just,
You guys will
put
see.
as much work on Wes's plate as possible.
I will. That's my favorite pastime.
Speaking of putting work on Wes's plate, what are your thoughts on Fortress Assault? I feel like that's been like the loose pebble in everyone's sock, right? It just seems like the one game type that doesn't quite fit in. What are your thoughts, Frosty?
I mean, obviously, you're gonna seem a little biased coming from us. We don't think it's terrible. We think it's all right. I think it's funny enough. Like they just changed the game type with the arm size making it a little bit bigger and adding OS. That was literally like one of the things I was talking about to make it a little bit better for teams. I feel like it actually does make it better. I don't know what the scores are, like what the data is or whatever, but I feel like more people are arming it. I think today we had like a 3-0 on it, so it's definitely better than what it was. I think the map itself is just kind of gimmicky, especially for the game mode, but I think it's like it's not terrible.
Let's talk again about your team composition. It looked like at one point last year, FaZe might have entirely disbanded, and it seemed like if any two were going to stick together, it would be Royal 2 and Snakebite based on their 15 years together. How did you and Royal 2 end up being the two from that former FaZe Clan roster that stuck it out and are now here together on Rebellion?
I think after Worlds, basically, whenever teams started forming, I think me and Royal 2 were kind of just like hearing what was going on with the teams. Like obviously the Optic team was forming, so John had left our team, and then I think PJ had gotten an offer from SSG, so it was kind of like a no-brainer to take that. So it's kind of just like me and Royal 2 kind of left to like our own bidding basically, and like I think we wanted a team together like pretty much for sure, but I mean I'm sure we all had like our conversations, like it could have gone anyway. But I think, I mean, my mindset, and then I think he feels the same way, is like if we can try to make it work where we are on the same team still, like we should do that. Just because I think very highly of him. I think he's one of the best players in the game, if not the best player, and he's been doing that for I don't even know how long now. It's like over a decade, but yeah, it was kind of like a no-brainer to kind of stick together as a team of two.
Yeah, I feel like it's crazy that we're not talking about this guy as much as everybody else on your team, but he is just the most solid fourth you could possibly ask for. Taking a look at some of his stats here, I want to say this is from the last tournament. I'm not sure exactly where these stats are pulled from, but regardless, 1.66 KDA, that's a lot of assists to go with his kills and deaths, high damage dealt per life, and average placing at 2.87. Is that his overall career? I have some more questions about these stats, but yeah, it's supposed to be updated. Okay, so this is up to date. But man, this guy, I feel like his play style to me is like he is so good at playing on an island by himself, like maybe one of the best in the game at doing that. But he's also just a phenomenal teammate and also never misses. I don't know, what's it like to you teaming with Royal 2?
Yeah, I think you kind of like brought up a really important point that a lot of people miss is like, yeah, he really is really good at playing the island player. He's really good at like getting his damage and getting his kills by himself, but he's an incredible teammate as far as like when he needs to push up and put his body on the line, like he knows when to do that. Like his IQ of the game is so incredibly high. And that's something that people don't understand just because his shot is obviously something that people are going to look at first, but he knows how to play the game so well that he's able to kind of direct his teammates whenever he has the info. And like I said, he has no issue with like pushing something out, like just straight G sliding at a guy, taking max damage, and like helping his teammate get the kill or get the kill himself. And that's something that's super underrated. I feel like that's something that goes under the radar whenever people watch him. And that's why I think he's genuinely like one of the best players in the game, because like he kind of looks at the game the same way I do. And it's super nice to be able to have someone like by my side and see eye to eye in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, it's like you guys have been through the fire together since the beginning of this game and dating all the way back to Halo 5.
Yep.
So he's basically your rock at this point. Like he's part of your family. And when you've got two new young guns, I'm sure it makes it a lot easier to kind of like assimilate them into your squad. As we take a look at the overall stats, this is up to date. After today's tournament, you're still on top, 1.19. I don't know if you saw, but you had the best KD in the tournament last week. I haven't seen the way it shakes out overall for this week, but man, 1.79 is insane. And then damage, you've actually got the highest damage dealt per life. Does that surprise you? I feel like I typically see either Cycle or Last Shot with the most damage.
I don't really know. I feel like stats are so weird, especially with our team. I feel like all four of us are kind of doing everything all at once. So like we'll have games where we literally have like the same amount of kills, same amount of deaths, and like I don't know, same ball time or something like that. And I'm like, I don't even know like what we're doing, but we're so in sync that everyone's doing the exact same thing. It's insane. But yeah, I will say like I am the only Texas player on our team, so like every single series we're playing in these tourneys, like I'm on Texas server, so I mean, that's why I would say like my stats will definitely shine compared to the other players usually, unless I'm like getting horde slammed or something. But the Texas server is definitely helping me out.
Frosty,
That's crazy that you're the only Texas guy. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Like, are you getting Texas servers or Chicago servers in these
Oh, absolutely. Well, the observer pulls the host. So the observer is like because there's a 9th player, and everyone's pretty much Central or Texas anyways, like that observer is going to pull the host to Texas every single time.
Okay, so you're getting like 15 ping?
Yeah,
20,
yeah.
like, yeah, and oh my god, so what is Matt on? Matt's probably nerd raging inside.
No,
50, 60.
I literally told
Way
him, bro,
higher.
I was literally yelling at him today after the streets, like mid streets oddball game. I'm like, we have to stop complaining. Like, granted, like I totally understand it. He's on like 80 ping or something, but like he's probably getting bullshitted so hard. I feel
And
bad.
then
And
Is
last
Wyatt playing
shots
from home?
on Starlink.
Yeah, yeah.
Playing from home? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
Playing from home. Yep.
That's so
Does he
crazy.
still live on a
So
farm?
Royal 2
Oh,
is in
absolutely.
Canada.
Yeah,
And
he's
last
got a
shot is on a
DSL line
farm
and it's
via
Starlink, bro.
And y'all, so if anyone's going to get the land buff, it's probably Rebellion. I see a lot of Optic fans in chat kind of complain about the online stuff, but isn't everybody pulling Texas from Optic? So if anyone's at a disadvantage online, it would be you guys, right?
I mean, yeah. I
mean,
mean,
he's not
online's
gonna say
online,
that.
so it's just like, yeah, online's online. Like anything, everything's weird, but yeah, I'm sure.
Where
they're
does
getting
Cycle
joked.
live?
So Tools,
like
okay, late
Louisiana or
breaking though.
something.
Tools says
Okay.
Halo Studios has confirmed that host is not affected by Observer, but
That's not
who
true.
knows?
That's not true. That's not true.
They
That's
did
They said it's not true.
supposedly.
I know
They did
it's just not true.
supposedly patch it. Like I'm just saying, yeah. Publicly, they announced that it
They
was.
did
patched, I
say that
believe.
before. They did publicly say that before, but I 100% know for a fact because all these online tournaments we play, like we would get Texas server on repeat last year, right? And like I don't remember exactly where everybody was, but someone was from Atlanta or someone was from like Texas or something, and so would get a Texas server. But then I remember asking LVT, I'm like, "Yo, do you guys have any other observers anywhere else?" And then someone was from like Atlanta or something, and so that person being in Atlanta, yeah. So like literally him being in the lobby instead of the other guy dragged the server, so we didn't get Texas server.
What server do you get against SSG?
I think it's Texas.
Really? Holy shit. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Then that's
well, 'cause, like-
that's definitely what's going on then.
Well, because like Kevin's
That should be
Texas,
Chicago for
Braden's like Arizona or something. Well, they do have
Yeah, but
two
PJ
like
New York, Jersey.
yeah.
I should pull
Yeah,
it.
but that's what I'm saying though. The observer, because like he kind
Yeah.
of dictates
So there's
it though.
4 people in Texas basically in that lobby.
Yeah. Because I
Out of
think
3.
normally when we stream SSG, like it kind of flip flops, but we have like played the central server as well.
Okay. It's probably just picking based off of who knows. It's
Yeah.
random.
Interesting. We'll have to see if Halo Studios want to comment on that, or if maybe we're reporting a bug right now that's unintended. That
Yeah, it's all
perhaps
good.
the
Well, the way that they
Yeah.
tweeted that too, I remember it was like really weird wording. Like Dev had on, like they said like they're not gonna pick the server based off the outlier, right?
Oh,
Which
so it
should have
probably
been-
changed it a little bit.
Which should have been the observer, because the big thing was when everyone was at ForceCon or whatever, right? Landing, and everyone went there on purpose to land for the miner, online miner or whatever that was called, the super. And you guys
online
all ended up with
super,
40,
yeah.
50 ping anyways because
Oh,
the
bro. Okay,
observer
well, I
was
don't know.
pulling the host to.
Yeah,
Central or
that was a
whatever?
good example too. I don't remember if that was
Yeah.
before or after they said it.
That was
stopped
before, and
affecting
then
it or
they
what.
fixed it and
Okay.
said they weren't gonna pick for the outlier, but technically the outlier in your guys' series would be like PJ or like
Yeah, exactly.
kind of thinking like it would be PJ or Tommy, right? So
Mhm.
it would lump the observer in and then say, yeah, PJ, good luck with 90 ping, have fun.
Interesting. Yeah, by the way, guys, anybody watching, if you didn't know, Mikwen used to work on the game as well, so has a few extra insights behind the scenes, perhaps. But
Educated guesses.
yeah, and probably good educated guesses verbatim here. But yeah, we don't want to take too much of your time, Frosty. I wanted to ask, was there any other things that you wanted to talk about or any shout outs that you wanted to give before we let you go?
I mean, not really. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. That was a banger series. I feel like.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, they're
I
crazy,
don't even
dude.
know the scores. Yeah, I literally don't even know what we played or like what happened. But like, I'm here now. Like,
It was all a blur.
shout out to that guy who put his son on the mic, and then he told
was
me
hilarious,
good luck playing against Optic, because that helped us win for sure.
Yeah, that was yesterday, right?
I gotta
Yeah,
ask you about
yeah.
that, Frosty, because if you guys remember the classic Halo montages, they always had a clip like that in it, right? Like
Yeah.
something with voice chat, something
Yeah.
of the social element that is just awesome and hilarious. How did that moment come about? Were you about to play them, I guess, in like a winter round 1, winter round 2? And what made you think to tell the son that you're going to kick his dad's ass?
Yeah, I think it was Winter's Round 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think I literally was like up from the bathroom, and then I just got back, and then someone was calling my name, and he's like, "Yo, like, yo, Brad, like, this guy wants to talk to you on the mic." And then he said he's gonna put his son on the mic. I'm like, okay, like, cool, bet. And then he said, "What's up?" Said hello, and like, I don't know, like, obviously with our team, with our tomfoolery, we're just making jokes all day, so I figured I'd throw out a joke as well. I don't even think he heard me, to be honest, but I literally DM'd the guy about it after.
I think it
and,
was
like,
confliction.
It was confliction, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
Yeah.
DM'd him after it just because, like, I know a lot of people probably took that like, or it could have taken that the wrong way. But like, he said like it was totally cool. So.
He's a part of like the Michigan land scene, bro. He's heard way
Is
worse.
he? Okay.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
That
I was
guy's
gonna say,
chill,
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy's name like so many times.
That was a
Yeah,
classic
he
Halo
went to a
moment.
lot of the Michelins for a while, I think.
Okay. Yeah, he sounded really cool.
Got a
Oh,
specific question
actually,
here
I
from
think. Oh, sorry to cut you off. I just want to say, I'm pretty
No,
sure
you're good.
Shopify also reached out to that guy, and they hooked up his son with a jersey too. So W
Oh, shit,
Shopify.
that's
sick.
Yo, that's
Yeah.
actually
Fucking sick.
so sick.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's
Let's
like some NBA shit right there. That's like what the Timberwolves would do or something. That's
Yeah,
awesome, man. Big ups
100%.
to Rebellion. Let's play the clip.
Hear me, my son
Okay.
fan wants to say hi to you.
Oh,
Hang on.
wait, turn your mic on, bro.
Hey,
Hi.
what's up? How's it going?
I'm not sure
Good.
if
All right, listen, I'm sorry for the beating that I'm about to give to your father.
Holy fuck!
Oh,
Oh,
thank you.
W
We'll see you
Mans!
later today.
W fucking
That's fucking
homie!
awesome.
All right, thanks, man.
Hey, no
Oh,
worries,
that's
bro.
dope! No,
That is awesome. And yeah, tell me that's not straight out of a montage from 05. Like after some just bloodthirsty gameplay, you gotta
H2
add a
Lava,
little
yeah.
humor to the mix to balance out the tones. But that was incredible, Frosty. I think I don't think anybody should be giving you flack for that. That was awesome. Good, clean, old-fashioned Halo trash talk.
That's the
I got
old
a specific
Frosty.
question
We need more of that.
that I'd like to ask.
I need
yeah,
you
right?
to
We
teabag
need more of
somebody
that.
again. I just need it so that it's not just me.
It might be just,
Yeah.
it might
Just
just
the
be
only
bro.
one stirring it up.
I'm going rocket. I'm going
I
elbow
mean,
with
you're
snipe on
special.
Kali.
Oh, I brought that up today. Don't worry.
Did
We
you
got
really?
Oh,
Before we let you go, Frosty, we got
Yep.
Oche in the chat, and I think this is pretty intriguing because I noticed something similar. He says it felt like there was a positive change in the grand finals reset. Started in the strongholds, but showed first in the Slayer, where it seemed like you started to play more forward and aggressive to unlock last shot a bit more. Did a discussion happen there, or what led to some of the pacing changes that we saw after that reset?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think being in the grand finals is definitely a blessing and a curse, right? It's like you have that luxury of 2 series, but also the team that's coming from losers, they're hot off a series, back-to-back series. I think they played 3 series before they played us. So I literally brought it up before the series. I'm like, guys, these guys are going to be coming out hot. We just got to make sure we find our footing. Granted, they did 3-0 sweep us like instantly the first series. But like that mentality of just like, they're going to get theirs as long as like we get comfortable as a team and we're kind of figuring it out. We're eventually going to like, it's going to click, right? So I think it happened. Like I said, it was at the 3-0, but like we were feeling more and more comfortable. I think in the second series, we were like, okay, like now we kind of are feeling them out and we're feeling more comfortable on the map. Let's try to speed it up and try to put the pressure on them now. And because that's what we normally do, right? I think it was more so just like, I guess going into that series a little bit slow, but yeah, we definitely found our pace in the second series.
I have a question on that too, actually, because this is something back in like H5 whenever we played you guys, like we knew we'd come into losers or something. Like our goal was to actually extend the first series as long as possible. So do you think like getting like 3-0'd like that fast like is actually like helpful? Like lets you just like kind of like whatever, they shit on us, go next. Like we got the extra series. Whereas like you go to like a grueler game 5, lose the game 5, and then you go into the next series, you're like, fuck, dude, like this is so much. Because that was like
Yeah, I
our
don't know.
mindset was like Just don't
But
get
if
3-0
from
fast.
you guys coming from losers, or if you're coming from winners.
Yeah, like just don't 3-0 fast was like our idea. Well, I guess it was a 4-0 back then, but like
Okay,
we didn't want to like fry too hard, right? Because we didn't want to like let you guys like we didn't want not just you guys, but just like anybody. The idea is like extend it, right? Like make it a
Right.
grueler, and that's where we
Exactly.
felt really comfortable. So
Yeah. No, I think I definitely agree. Like coming from the loser side, or I guess like in our situation from winners, like we wanted to make it a griller, but like coming from losers, it's like I guess if you're frying too hard, you kind of let up on the gas a little bit, and maybe that could play a factor too. It's like you 3-0 the first series, and you go into the second series feeling like ultra mega confident, which like I mean I've been there before too. So yeah, I feel that.
yeah, we just also didn't want like I remember like me and Eric would talk about it. Just like we didn't want you guys to like forget. Like we didn't want you guys to be able to just like hit the reset, go to the bathroom, be like whatever they fried us, go next. Like was kind of the
Gotcha,
idea.
okay.
So,
Yeah,
like
kind of
I
sweep
feel like
it
that's
off.
what they kind of just like dominated the first series, but it's like you guys go to the bathroom and like whatever, it was 30 minutes. Like who cares? Go next.
There's nothing to talk about if
I
it
got
was
you.
just
Yeah.
free
It's
like
like
that.
we got shit
But if
on.
it
We
was
got shit on. Go
50-49,
next.
you're
Yeah,
wrapping
you
your
start
brain
talking
over
about
what
it,
the
right?
in-game strategy should have
Yeah,
been. When you should
exactly.
be talking about the next game.
Yeah,
That makes
exactly.
sense,
Yeah.
actually.
It's like a
Okay, I got
psychology
you.
thing. Yeah. So because that is one thing. Most of your wins are pretty winners dominant. Like, how many tournaments have you won from losers?
I think we only won the one, or maybe
Worlds?
Worlds, yeah.
Oh, are you saying in general?
Yeah.
I
Like
know
your
we
whole career.
won. I think we didn't. I think we won one in H5. I know at like Atlanta we did that the
On
last
Splice?
H5 event. No, that was against
No, that
Rec, I
was
think.
Rec. Yeah, because you guys
Yeah,
did come from
2018.
losers. The twice.
And then
Okay.
yeah, obviously
so,
like the phase one in Infinite.
yeah, you guys usually like kind of just 4-0'd in finals.
It
I mean,
feels
yeah,
to
that's the
me.
plan.
Yeah. Make it
It
easy.
feels to me that like once you guys just hit your groove, like there's no getting out of your groove from that point forward. It's like you might not start in the groove, but like once you find it, like you don't really fall out of it. I don't know. That's what it feels when I watch you guys play, and like that's the way it felt when you guys reverse swept in the World's Grand Finals as well. It's just like, man, when FaZe starts winning, I mean, at the time you guys were FaZe, when FaZe starts winning, it doesn't feel like they stop winning, and you guys just rattle off 8 wins in a row. Do you feel like you just hit flow state? And like, I guess as a longtime competitor, I'm always interested in the psychology of like recognizing when you're in flow state and the ability to stay in it. Is there anything specific that you do, or is that just a skill you feel like you've honed over time?
It's tough because like if I can hit flow state as much as possible, like that's the goal. But I feel like the older you get, the harder it is. I think that's more so a testament of like how me and Royal 2 play the game. I feel like our team now specifically is like our game plans. Like we kind of see everything eye to eye, and like we're kind of constantly like making plays that everybody is on the same page with. And I feel like that like even if you're not in flow state, because in my opinion, like I don't think we played like super great today, but we were able to pull out a lot of wins just purely based off the fact that like we were working together and we were on the same page, without even being in flow state. So it's one of those things where like if you can hit flow state, it makes the game way easier. But if you're not, like you need to fall back on like, okay, like this is what we need to be doing, and we can't forget these fundamentals during this time. And like as long as we're doing those things correctly, it's going to make the game easier for us. And no matter what's going on, whether you're shooting straight or not, like you should be doing those things.
Makes a lot of sense, and that's definitely a good mindset for longevity and success over the long term. And it's like there's days that one or two of you guys are in flow state. That's like everybody else better watch out. These guys are insane. Like last shot, he's still. I don't know if we've even seen his peak yet, but I feel like when that kid's in flow state, he can do no wrong. It's incredible to watch. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm so excited for this year, like going to LAN, right? Because it's like Last Shot and Cycle, like them together, especially on this team, I feel like we haven't seen anything that they're capable of, right? Like their potential is unlimited. Like we're gonna see the most insane things. Like they're gonna be doing things that they didn't even know they could do. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's gonna be so something to look forward to for sure.
That had to be part of the appeal, right? They don't have the same amount of hardware as you guys do in the on the mantle, but the upside and the uncapped potential. Did you feel like these were the two most promising players in the HCS? Were these your top 2 free agent picks to team with when you came back with you and Matt as a duo?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously these two players have been like up and coming, especially last year. They both had great years. I know I was definitely talking a lot to Penguin during the offseason, but it kind of lined up because, like I said, like me and Roll 2 kind of wanted to just stick together. So I think Best Man probably reached out to both of us at some point, but they already had Last Shot. So it was Cycle and Last Shot as kind of like the package. And then it was me and Royal too, right? So it was kind of just that 2-2 perfect fit. And it's kind of how like we made that happen.
I think the best Halo teams are formed that way, right? The 2-2 split, 2 duos.
Yeah.
It feels that way. I was curious what Best Man's total role in the whole equation was. Like, was he kind of the one to reach out to like make this happen? Like, is this, I guess obviously there's a lot of different teams moving around and stuff, and he just kind of saw something and took it. But what's his role been like for you guys' squad?
Honestly, he's impressed me. I mean, like I've known Bestman for a long time. I mean, I grew up watching him in Halo, right? Like he's been in the scene for a long time. I respect his knowledge of the game, and obviously last year, I mean, he's been on coaching every Shopify team since the first year of Infinite. So he's been grinding it out, and especially last year, they had a lot of success with the team that probably wasn't expected to do as well as they did. So I know he knows a lot about the game. I know he's like a good coach because of that. And I know that like he wanted to make this team work, and he had a good vision on it. So that was one thing that like all us as players, like we all trusted that.
Love that. Yeah, Nick and I go way back. He was one of my very first teammates in Halo 2, and we just teamed again in Halo 2, full circle 20 years later, which is pretty sick at the Vegas LAN.
The Vegas LAN, yeah.
That was so much fun. But yeah, like I said, I didn't want to take too much of your time. We ended up asking you like 10 more questions after I said that the first time. So
hey, no worries with me, bro. Keep rocking up the questions. Got you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate having you on. We've got some clips. I don't know if do you want to hang out? We were going to actually watch some clips from the tournament and go through some of them if Isaac can pull them up. Looks like, let me find my list.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. And today was so long. I was so tired today, and like I actually don't know like what we played. I feel like we played so many maps today.
Yeah, can we? Yeah, that was the first series of the day we did, right? Yeah, let's pull that one up. Okay, so this was literally the first game of the tournament. This morning, you guys are playing against Space Station. You guys came out hot this series. Did you guys get on early and warm up, or did it feel like Space Station was a little sleepy? I don't know. You guys seemed like firing on all cylinders right away.
I think starting off game 1, Recharge King, it was a map that they took off us in the last tournament. So it's something we wanted to kind of make a statement on. And I mean, obviously it's SSG, right? So like we want to make sure we're going hard, making a statement right away. I mean, we knew we were the first match of the day. We knew what time we had to be on. So I feel like we didn't like go out of our way to like make sure we're on like super early, but like we just got on promptly, make sure we're warmed up, make sure we're locked in.
What's the sweet spot for that? An hour before, 90 minutes before, 30 minutes, probably cut it too close. What's that timeline look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's different. I know for me, Wyatt wakes up really early. Same with Nick Bestman. For me, I like to make sure I'm up probably like at least 2 hours, especially with these early series. Like I'm not trying to wake up super early. So if we play at like 12 Eastern, I'm trying to wake up at like maybe 10 Eastern, just so I can like wake up, get ready, and then wake my brain up. Also, give time for my brain to wake up.
When's Matt waking up?
Oh, bro, I mean,
30 minutes
Matt
before.
did wake up like probably 30 minutes before, but normally it's like our match is at 12.
There's
like,
always
he's
one of
showing
those
up
on
at
every
12.
team, though. There's always one of
Exactly.
those on every team. So that's just
Yeah,
the way
Matt
it
is
goes.
usually streaming deep into the night, so
6:30 in the morning.
Turning it around pretty quick.
You warm up
Yeah.
now? 'Cause you were never a
yeah,
warmer-upper, right?
100%. I'm playing this game 24/7.
This game you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to.
Yeah.
I feel like.
You didn't warm up in H5 though, right?
No, absolutely not. I
Yeah.
ran up playing my warm-ups backstage.
Yeah,
like
that's
I literally
why I
never
asked.
warmed up.
Because Dylan would literally warm up. He would play PJ for you, so you didn't have to do it.
100%.
Oh, to be young again, man.
I know,
Just
right?
wanna
wake
talk
up and
about-
go.
This game a little bit here. I feel like I'm really impressed with you guys' spawn control on this mode in particular. It seems like you kind of have a game plan for like what part of the map you want to spawn on for each hill. But then more impressive than that is the way you guys decide to collapse into the other team's setup. Like right here, Space Station were all alive. They had plenty of time to like get into positions. You guys off of your first push basically get clean 3 dead. And then I think, yeah, I remember this. Matt dies from a kind of faded grapple play there. But how are you guys so good at just like pushing and taking control? Every single time Space Station had control of a hill, you guys just come off spawn and take it right back.
Yeah, I mean it's mostly just like game plans, like I've been saying. It's like there is a timing where you can just bust through the front and break their setup, but then there's times when if you're playing a really good team, they're not going to allow that. So you have to kind of take your time, wrap the map, and set your teammates up for success. So that's something that we have a very healthy balance of. I feel like all 4 of us know how to play the game very well instinctually, and because of that, we're able to make plays off of each other. So it's like if we decide to go quick, we can go quick, and if we decide to take our time and wrap the map, we can do that as well.
It feels like you guys are choosing the right option. It's like either the slow approach or the fast approach. Like you guys just instinctively know which one to use in these situations. Like I think this might be another hill, or no, they might actually get this one here. Oh, that's right. Now I'm starting to remember this game. Okay, so this is where they end up capping this, spoiler alert, and then you guys end up playing time for like the
1:20.
last minute and a half, which is it because that C hill is pretty exposed and you just figure, you know, if we just set up behind the silo, they can't really get in the hill? Or like, how do you guys make those decisions on the fly?
I saw Ryan Noob do it, so I figured I'd just take the page out of his book. No, but actually though, I think like we weren't intending on doing it. Like I don't think we said to play time on that. I think it was one of those things where they were playing good enough defense to where we couldn't get the hill ourselves, and so eventually it became that stalemate of like, we can get the hill, but they're probably going to kill us, so might as well just stay alive. And then that wasted enough time to be like, okay, like might as well just play time at this point.
Makes sense.
You're right. The C hill is very exposed for that reason too.
It's like bat ledge is really troublesome. I don't know. What's interesting to me about this hill is like you can sit in one corner of it so that you're not exposed to bat ledge, but then you're fully exposed to needles, or you can sit in the other corner and not be exposed to needles but be exposed to bat ledge. So it's like,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I guess like which part of the hill you're in should be based on the positions that your teammates hold. Is that kind of the way you guys think about it?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, obviously, like you can. It depends on where you're spawning them, so you're kind of just like filling it out based on where your teammates are.
And Austin, maybe you could speak to this. I feel like Recharge is probably the easiest map to predict spawns on, at least for me personally. I feel like it's just like a triangle. It's like they either spawn like elevator, gold pipes, or C. Like
Yeah,
obviously
usually when you come off
there's
spawn, you just think opposite. That's where they are. Like if you
Yeah, it's
spawn
like you-
long, they're probably A.
yeah, it's like it's very easy to assess
are
where
pretty
everybody
simple,
is when you spawn up. Yeah.
And I mean, that C hill is just like, yeah, it's like Brad said, it just turns into like, a lot of times you're just like, it's not even like mixy. It's just like you're just shooting them off so they can't get in, and if you try to get in, you're gonna get shot off. So
Yeah,
I feel like that hill just kind of eats like a minute no matter what. Like
Yeah.
exactly.
minute or
Well,
two no matter what.
Like this play right here, like we just got to. I don't know if we spawned there or what, but like we're just 3 back blue. It's like they
Yeah.
literally can't get the hill,
Can't get
so
hill.
they
Yeah.
push up.
But neither can
And then
you.
we're- Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys made that decision with 2:30 left. I mean, that's a.
No. They're still fighting for it at this point.
Okay. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like
So I
you
think,
said,
like-
they're just trading over and over.
Yeah, I think
See,
like here,
it's like they
I'm
were
still
just
trying
3
to get
back blue,
time,
and now they
probably.
are. Yeah.
But then it's like I'm not gonna die for this. Obviously, like I
Shot out
get
instantly.
back up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that hill's just so exposed, and it's like so easily naded as well, and shot from.
How much do you feel like the strafe scaling has impacted the speed and flow of the game, Brad?
Honestly,
at
I'm
all.
trying to think. Like I feel like everyone's kind of used to it by now. Like it's one of those things where like you don't even really think about it. I'd say like speed wise, everything feels the same for the most part. Like you're still flying around the map and like hitting timings. I think if anything, it's just not as gimmicky as far as like the Jogo peeking in the fights. Like obviously you can still do those things and make your Spartan look insane, but it's one of those things where it probably just made the game better and like you don't even really notice it. Like it didn't make the game change like too much.
Combat flow got a little bit better, I think. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
1v1s and stuff. Like if you go back and watch some of the older clips, some of those strafe battles people got in, especially
Right.
like at the
So
end of last
stupid.
year, was
Really
insane.
jittery.
Yeah. That
It
probably
was
makes
egregious.
sense.
All in all, a welcome change. But yeah, this is incredible. It was 234, maybe even 241 left in regulation at the 2-1 mark. And now is probably around the time where you guys get 3 down for SSG and are thinking, do we just milk 2.5 minutes here and just play for the 2-1 win?
Yeah, I mean, you basically just live forever back silo for this whole play, and it's very obvious that that was your whole game plan. You don't care if you're getting a single kill. As long as you exist on this part of the map, they're not going to spawn here, and you can just shoot them and make their life miserable. And
Yep.
you've got Matt just twerking in the long haul per usual.
Yeah, it's easier, I feel
just-
like it's probably easier to make calls like that too with Matt,
Yeah,
100%.
because he's
For
just gonna
sure.
anchor long, never die, or wherever he is, never die.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he's like thinking about the bigger picture. It's like if I don't die,
Yeah.
they can't get the O or something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, at this point, you guys are just like, if you have I've always thought that a really powerful position during this hill is top glass, just because it kind of like draws the line between silo, forces them to spawn A pretty much always, and then you've also got the cross as they try to cross into tower. It's like if you guys just anchor that spot and make their life miserable on their way to the hill. You guys played it flawlessly. I was just talking about, I remember while we were casting it, during the times that I'm not making fun of Mikowski for saying the most faded shit I've ever heard in my life, I was talking about how good you guys are playing. And then what's the next clip that we have in the hopper here, Isaac? We have another one from that series with Shopify. Oh, between with Brad. Yeah, this is the last game, right? Yeah, let's watch that. I want to watch that before we let Brad go. Cycle grabbing the oddball for like the last 2 seconds in round
This shit
2
was insane.
was like,
oh, bro.
I mean,
yeah,
this-
I don't know how that happened.
the first 2 rounds of this were so close, and then you guys just ran away with the last one. But do you feel like, okay, maybe this is just my like simple-minded idea of this game mode, but this to me feels like the most chaotic game mode that we play right now. It just feels like the spawns are so close together. You're G sliding everywhere. Like
The reposition is so strong too.
like when 8 people in the lobby know how to move their Spartans efficiently, this map just feels crazy. Like, how do you feel about it?
I don't know. I think it might just be oddball in general. Because I feel
Yeah.
like recharge and live fire could even get really mixy too. I think the spawns being so close like makes it feel that way too. There is times there where you can kind of section the map off and like make their whole team spawn at like B or something, right? And then you kind of funnel them down like driveway or something. So then like that times like that, like you're not really getting into fights and they're kind of forced to like push out a lane. But yeah, it definitely can be super mixy. Like I don't know, I feel like this game it didn't feel like that crazy from my POV. Maybe I'm just used to it though.
Yeah, I think you're definitely just used to it, man. This was
Yeah,
insane.
he's
the
numb
second
to
round
it
was
because I
insane,
think
yeah.
to myself, God, you can't even get a 4 down on streets without feeling like you might get 10 seconds of time out of it. So
Yeah.
this definitely feels like the fastest.
Yeah, I think Wyatt literally almost got an overkill, and then he didn't kill the 4th guy, and that guy broke your guys' complete setup. Like,
That was
Didn't get
good.
the
No,
over.
you're actually
No
right.
time for you.
yeah, but he blew it, you know. Like,
He blew it.
Ah,
yeah,
only
way
a
to go,
triple.
dude.
Come on, man.
I'll be roasting him later for that. Don't worry. That was funny after the round 1 because we, I mean, I'm not
You
gonna
guys blew
spoil
the
it,
round
but
1, yeah.
we blew this round bad. I don't even know how. Like I'll be hitting the VOD review for sure after this. But after the round 1, like I think Matt started saying something, and I started screaming at him, bro. I'm like, stop complaining, because like he's doing his like
Oh, this was
normal
that
World
game?
2 thing. Yeah, and then like we're just kind of like yelling at each other. Like I don't know. It was like everybody was laughing about it afterwards.
I was gonna say, going back to Eli's comment about just like Wyatt's personality and how he's kind of goofy. Like I imagine when there's tension and it's in a grand finals, the bracket's been reset. There's a lot on the line, having someone that can just kind of laugh about it.
That's
That was a nice
Renegade.
ninja there from Renegade. But
Yeah, he's a
having
beast.
somebody that can just laugh it off and just kind of make a joke out of it
Yes.
increases the vibes. And it sounds like you're on a squad where you might have the best vibes of any team you've ever been on. And you've been on some pretty vibey squads.
I feel like TJ was good
yeah.
for that though too, right?
TJ was, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I
dry,
love
sarcastic
TJ's
sense of
commit.
humor.
Yeah.
That's what last shot brings.
Because
almost.
Ola,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
very
like Ola's
TJ-esque.
superpower too. Ola's superpower was just like
yeah.
me
It
and
really
Rona are
is.
yelling at each other, and Ola just makes like a dick or fart joke.
So,
Everything's
someone's
gonna
like,
go.
someone's got to defuse the situation, bro.
Yeah, yeah. There's always Ola.
Yeah, I could cut the tension with a knife. Jeez.
Yeah.
I feel like Royal 2's always been that guy too, though. Like a guy, I think Royal 2 is one of the funniest guys on the planet. The guy is just fucking hilarious. Like
Unintentionally.
his stream
for
is
sure.
just off the fucking rails, man. You tune in that guy's stream at 5 o'clock in the morning, and like there's just sus
calling people
comments
fat
being
asses.
made. Yeah, he's just saying
Starbucks employees.
No,
like
that is hilarious. That is actually hilarious.
he is so funny. I don't know.
No, I mean, I,
Nomi
think,
from the
I genuinely
chat.
think everybody's so funny on this team. Everyone has
Cycle,
a great
I feel like,
personality.
is unintentionally funny in some ways too.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, especially
he's
'cause,
he's
like- Oh, sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like he doesn't talk that much, and like, especially when he doesn't stream, it's like you guys don't hear much from him. But like when he talks, he's really really funny too.
Vibes, man. You need that. These are high stakes, sweaty matches, and I don't know, when you have 4 friends that are just kind of, duking it out like you would at a LAN party, it just I don't know, makes Halo more fun and maybe even a little easier in these.
Yeah, I mean, it
these
reminds
types
you
of
you're playing a
moments.
game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's a huge piece, just like the video game. Has some
Yeah,
fun.
a reminder, like, hey, this is a video game. We should be
Yeah.
having fun, even if it's
Yeah.
for $1 million. Fun should be first and foremost. And I think on that note, Nomi has a question in chat. Unironically, why is Ryanoob the best Halo brain ever?
I mean, I'll gas him up. He knows what he's doing. I feel like he always has good structure to his team, and that's something that is very important. Like that's something that I always like. I said it earlier. It's just like game plans of your team being on the same page and seeing eye to eye is so important, and that's something that Ryanoob brings to his team. Like he has a way that he wants to play the game, especially in certain situations that are going to be very meaningful, especially in big high pressure moments and at tournaments. That's just something he brings to a team, and especially with like the players he's playing with, like if they're not as experienced, right, but they just have a lot of talent, he can kind of guide them to add in that sort of structure, I guess you can call it, for someone who isn't as experienced.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many new players that end up on Ryan's team that just, by the time they're not teaming with him anymore, they just feel way
Leveled
more in
up.
tune with the game itself. Yeah, he's like literally the Ryanoob Academy, bro. He's just raising these like young talents.
Academy.
They go through the experience of teaming with Ryan, and then they just leave a bigger human. I don't know. That
Well-
kid that he's raising is gonna be a brainiac as well, and have.
Speaking of a kid he raised, Cycle. Cycle was one of Ryanoob's proteges, was he not? I think
that's right, he
Cycle
was
went
in
through Cycle went through
Complexity,
the
right?
Ryanoob Academy. So I mean, we're seeing the difference he can make. He's taught a lot of young players the fundamentals of Halo. I'd say.
I think if you went through a Ryan Noob and did like the pipeline to teaming with Ryan, then winning a tournament is actually kind of insane.
There's a
Dude,
lot
that
of
would actually be a
players on
really
that list.
I'm one of
interesting infographic. I bet there's some threads. I bet there's
I'm
some
definitely
threads
one
there.
of them. I won with Ryan though, but TJ,
With Denial, or
Brad,
are you talking about? Did you team with him before?
St. Louis, where I
St.
met
Louis,
you.
yeah, I remember that.
in FFA.
Yeah. I
That's the
remember
first
that. I
time I saw
remember
you,
that.
and you fucking shit on me. I was like, who is this kid?
So when
That was
you're
a fun
teaming
You
with
got a
the
beanie on.
Suns-
You got a beanie on. You're being nice to me. I'm like, who?
I'm like,
the
GG's.
studs? What the fuck? Yeah, you're
GG's,
being
bro.
super nice. Kill me with kindness.
Shout out to the Suddaths, man. They have a similar academy, the Suddath Academy. Everyone they
Oh
team
yeah,
with.
for sure. Brad's one of
Yeah.
those too.
Yep.
100%.
How to get out of open.
The hardest carry of all time.
Bro, it's funny because like if there were stats back then, I blatantly had like a 0.8.
I think you're like a
and still
2.8.
still won.
I think you're like, wait, that series?
Bro, I literally did not do anything that series. I
I
promise.
thought you were like
promise
20 and 8 in the game 5.
No. Game 5, I was probably like
Lockout?
third worst. Yeah, that lockout game. No, I'm
Really?
not kidding. Suda 2 was
Did you get, like, the
out
last 3
everybody.
kills? Yo,
Hell
you're right,
no,
actually.
I got-
Bro, he ran across top middle to top blue.
Yep.
And, like,
and
just
just floored
floored
a
the
guy in the
shit
left or
out of
something.
somebody.
Yep. Bro, I'm not kidding. Like
Yeah.
Like I didn't do anything. Like I just know how to not blow the game, and like I did my part. I was probably like a like a 12 and 11 or something, but like I got carried that game.
Yeah, that Sud 2 was just either horrendous or the best player on the map.
Yes,
Who-
yes, 100%.
For anybody confused, you guys were playing against APG's team, if I'm not
Noble
mistaken.
Black,
who
yeah.
are you playing against?
Yeah,
It
Noble
was
Black.
Arcanum.
Arcanum,
who-
Ares,
who else
Ares,
was-
and Maniac. Shout out Optic
Ah,
Maniac.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow, what a squad.
And the bomb, the Warlock bomb. Like,
Do you
guys got
remember that
slayed,
game?
That's why you had a 0.8. That's yes, bro. They all went plus 20, and you guys won.
Bro, like
Like,
actually their
literally
entire
every
team.
single one of them went plus 20.
Yeah, they outside us probably like 60 kills. It was actually the most insane game ever.
Oh, here's the VOD for the end of this game, though. We kind of missed it, but yeah, dude,
Wait,
that
what
was
round is this? This is
this
still
is
round
round
one,
one.
right?
Round
yeah,
one,
this
yeah.
is round one. So this is a round that you guys are up like 94 to like 67. I
98?
think.
How
They
did
got
they
the
come
98,
back
yeah.
here? What happened? You guys just start staggering
Yeah.
your spawns, or
We got a
what?
sub spawn.
It was probably one of those things where we had such a big lead that we kind of thought it was going to be easier than it was. But obviously, we're playing a team like Optic Gaming, and they're going to guarantee their kills no matter the score. So I mean, it's
And
one of
that
those
got
things.
killed.
Like I'll be watching the VOD on this. I'll give my entire team the breakdown. I'm going to make them watch a lot of VOD after this game. We'll watch this game over 7 times. Don't worry.
They actually played it so well, I thought. Like toward the to give Optic some credit,
Yeah.
I think with just 30 seconds on the clock, they managed the clock so well. They held the ball at perfect intervals and then dropped it to like hold you guys off and then picked it back up. It's like they used all of the allotted time, whereas I feel like a lot of teams that aren't like S tier teams would have gone into panic mode and probably held the bomb, or sorry, I keep mixing them up now. Held the ball longer than they should have. And then not won the fight and then lost the round. But I felt like their like management of that time was really impressive.
No, I definitely agree. They played it flawless in that sense. Like they know when to drop the ball because the kills are coming, so they need to slay out.
This round goes the distance as well. We could probably, Isaac, maybe if we could somehow fast forward. Yeah, look at that. That's
Yeah, so it's the purple mosh pit.
Yeah, because it's literally just like the same stuff happening for the longest time. No one's picking up the ball here.
Is royalty living for like a minute
And most
straight.
notable, this round is the last shot almost over into the insta setup break, and then that's like where you guys end up clutching it, like or where like Optic blew it or whatever happened. Like it was
Oh,
off
go back.
that.
That was actually a pretty
Oh,
gross double
those
kill.
are those are huge kills.
Yeah, I couldn't. believe
God,
he
he's
killed
got,
the
look at the
second guy.
yellow. He's got 0.001 HP at the end of this.
He didn't even get first shot. Somehow he
Oh,
doesn't
I don't know
trade
how
that.
he killed him.
God.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Oh,
trade
Oh,
that.
he almost got the triple.
They still get control though, and they end up holding for a while here.
Yeah, Cycle had an incredible game and an incredible series, honestly.
I thought for sure watching this we were gonna have a game
There's the
5.
triple into the no over into an insta setup break.
Yeah,
Oh.
he got a little too
course.
horny for the overkill, if you ask me. Like that was egregious. But
Pretty aggressive on the left stick, huh?
I mean, he was frying for like a full minute before this. So I don't blame him.
Yeah,
He
it
doesn't
sucks
jump at
that
him. He
it's
probably shipped on
John.
him.
Yeah, it sucks that it was John too. So John's like backing up, like not playing for the
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah, playing it correctly. Like
Because he gets the timing on him. He actually plays this like really
Yeah.
well.
Oh.
Yeah.
shoot.
John just makes
Yeah,
good
John
plays
managed
back
that
in
the
there.
perfectly.
Renegade's just good at that type of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's just like because he doesn't get that, you guys just get swarmed.
Damn. That's the fastest
I-
I've seen formal move in Infinite.
You're just
I
alone with
just
the ball.
shooted
Like,
so. I just
When,
died, did 0 damage.
When you say that, like Renegade's just good at that, it makes me think, and something I actually wanted to ask you as like an elite level player, when you're in a lobby like this, do you kind of have like a subconscious expectation of how your specific target is going to behave, and then like in the moment coming up with counter strategies? Like, for example, I don't know, certain players like Spartan does like a circular crouch strafe at the end of his fight more than a different opponent. Like, are you adjusting your aim based on the specific target you're shooting, or like how you approach it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a lot of it is like how I'm feeling in the game, like if I'm shooting like really straight or not. But yeah, I definitely see certain players. Like even I have names turned off, but I know exactly who I'm fighting. Like as soon as I see them.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
it's just one of those
You-
things where like I know how to play certain things depending on who the player is.
Do you think the names are too cluttered on your screen? What's the thought process behind turning the names off?
I don't know. It's one of it happened in like the first year of the game where people were turning them off, and I didn't know why, but I kind of just did it because everyone else did it. I think people were saying, yeah, I think it's what you're saying where it kind of clutters up
It's
the screen
visual
a little
clutter.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a noob. I played a lot of BTB, but that's why I turned it off. Because if you're playing BTB
okay.
and there's 12 Spartans, literally the entire
insane.
screen is just names, and like you can't even like
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Right.
made it tough. So that's
Yeah, I
why
mean, you can also
turned-
figure it out based
turn
off
names
armor
off.
like really easily.
Oh, 100%. Even how people
just know
move,
who's
like I
who.
know exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they change
have
their
your
armor, I can
teammates
figure it out
on?
pretty quick.
I don't know. Can I do that? I think my teammates are on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you-
so you can see them through
Yeah,
walls
you're-
and stuff. Oh,
There's
this is
different
the end of the
settings.
round too.
Yeah.
I think
okay,
I
so
think when you turn off names, it shows your teammates' service tags. I think is the
30
way it
seconds
works.
left here.
think that's
Last
right.
shot. Grabs it to get the lead. Chucks the ball towards Shoddy's side.
Yeah, how the
Renegade gets a good kill. Ball is just rolling precariously down the P Street. Okay. They take the lead here. And then do you ever feel like you should just hold the ball for a little bit longer and give yourself more of a cushion? Like I feel like Optic had the opportunity to do that here. But then I
So-
guess that the whole time you're holding it gives the other team more time to push forward. I don't
My
know. I could go
rule-
back and forth with it.
I could be faded, but my rule was like get your lead to the amount of time left.
Yeah.
Try to do
So
that.
if there's 5 seconds left, go up 6.
Might be good, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So like if and that way it gets when there's 5 seconds left, it's a little bit different because you can kind of just straight up in the game. But if there's like 20 seconds left, and you can go up by like 15. That gives you more time to come off spawn if you do die.
Dude, he just
That's the way you kinda
clutches
gotta
it
think
right
about
there.
But yeah, it's like if they hold that for that extra like 9 seconds, like they have a chance to like come off spawn and like re-break, right? But all Cycle had to do was pick it up, get the lead, and throw it away.
Dude, that was about as icy of an end game as maybe we saw all day. But Optic seemed pretty dead set and playing for time there and saying come and get it, and you guys did.
I think that
How much
play,
time was on the clock
or
when
that
they
play,
dropped it?
It's
like
it feels
20,
like that kind of checked Optic.
much.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
20
too
left.
much. That's too much.
Yeah, honestly,
But yeah,
they played it
much on
well.
the snap.
It's just one of those things where like they could have played it better, but also like I mean, we just made a good play as well. So it's tough because like
You guys broke it really fast. I don't think they expected you guys to break it so
Yeah.
precisely.
well, it's like I don't know if you like watch it back. It's like Preston or Cycle and Last Shot. They double pushed up P to like start the initiative pressure and just stayed alive. But then Matt, I think in the comms, he was like, "Yo, like stay alive for me. I'm gonna hit up like B side." So because they were pressuring P side, Matt was able to hit his route tires, and they kind of synced it up at the perfect time.
Yeah.
And the Cycle cleans up a double, grabs the ball.
Yeah.
And then
him,
you guys
him
kinda-
grabbing the ball and like, getting it out that far was huge. Like
Yeah.
Cycle
That
That was
was
the second time
actually
he's
making
caught the
god
ball in a
plays.
buzzer beater.
Yeah, I think
On this map?
it might have been Matt last time, but or it might have happened another time. I don't know.
Well, Cycle like grabbed it, threw it to Matt, then Matt repulsed it
Oh.
away to win the game. Like in that first
Right.
was it the first cup I think or the off-season cup or something?
Yeah, I think it was like an
It was
off-season
like-
cup.
That was like Cycle literally caught it with like 0 seconds left to get it up to go up by
You
1.
guys have had so many crazy end rounds on this map, like dating back multiple seasons as well. Like
Yeah, Sentinels case at Kansas City, bro. Yeah, this is
I'm
just-
thinking-
yeah, you're fucking blessed.
I
on
mean,
this map.
I was coaching G1 for the online super we were talking about when we played you guys in, I think, losers semifinals and had like
Yeah.
some crazy end games on Streets Ball in that series as well. Like, you guys are always. I feel like it's just the nature of the game type, though, right? Like,
It
it's
is,
just
yeah.
gonna come down to the wire like that so frequently.
The spawns are
An
just so
unofficial
close. That's why
overkill.
even a team wipe, yeah, it's just doesn't really afford you much. But yeah, nice unofficial overkill. I still wish the overkill medal popped up if it was within time, but I think after the death occurs, they wipe it. But you guys come out on fire here in round number 3. Optic must have been a little checked out, I think. I think Eli mentioned like they might be a little checked after that. It's kind of looking like it. 82-4, I think is the score. Did you guys feel like you had it pretty much wrapped up at this point, or?
Yeah, I mean, once like kills start coming a little bit easier to you, and like I don't know, you're kind of living a little bit longer. Like I don't know, the game just feels a little bit easier, and you can kind of tell that yeah, I don't know, you're kind of doing the right things on the
You
map.
could feel it. Yeah.
That last life you had, you were positioned so perfectly to just shoot them in the back on all the routes they chose to try to get to the oddball.
Yeah.
They once you died though, they did get some control here. How do you guys end up breaking this though? Okay, it looks like they hold it on for a bit longer. So you guys are 3 dead here. Cycle last man alive. He's all the way behind somehow. How did he even get here?
Yeah, he slipped through bottom mid to front C.
Oh, okay, okay.
That was good.
And then
damage.
he,
Yeah,
yeah,
even
just
trading there would
because
have been insane.
just because he leaves Renegade one shot kind of gives you guys a little bit of extra breathing room to move forward. Is that part of the comms
Huge
in
win,
situations
too.
like that? He's like, Renegade's one shot, like you guys can push up or something like that. Like, does it kind of hasten the way you guys push off spawn there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think like our goal there is probably to take our time still and kind of like trap them in, but like, yeah, that definitely gives us the luxury of like Renegade's still he's getting his shields, so he's gonna take a second to get out on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Another good point from Oche. We haven't seen the skill jumps used really that much across all the maps, but I don't think I've seen the B stairs jump at all on streets.
The B stair one
Are
is
some of them
useless.
harder to hit than others, or why do you think that is, Brad?
It's just not
the B
useful,
stair
I don't
one,
think.
yeah, I think the B stairs one is kind of like just like more difficult for some
It's
reason.
jank
So
too. Yeah, you
yeah,
have to jump
it is.
straight up.
It is
It's
exactly.
like there's no finesse with it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know that
Recharge
and like
one's
the recharge one. Oh, wait, you're talking
Think
about the
it's
glass
bad?
one or the half wall one?
Yeah, the glass wall, the half wall one's not useful at all.
Okay,
Glass
that's what I'm
one
saying.
is
Yeah, the
pretty
red one's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
half wall one, it's just like yeah,
What's the
it's
point?
kind of tough hitting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I guess
like
you
that
can
they
easily
had,
like jump
mixed
off
in
of in
game,
a fight or something maybe, but I like the jumps too. It's just that B stairs one. I feel like if you pull it like around, you know where the satellite dish is on the wall.
though. Yeah.
If that was a jump, right? So like you could like jump like from Mando to B stairs would actually be kind of cool. It'd be hard,
Oh,
but
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
like if
Like
you
make
like
it
maybe
like a little
curb
curve.
slid or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that could be cool because then you could like fight a guy driveway, hit that jump, kill him off B stairs real fast.
Make that a little quicker. Yeah.
It could be OP though, but it's kind of the palm tree thing that you do a lot. Same
I
idea.
love that palm tree, bro.
So I wanted to ask you. So our next guest after you is going to be Piggy, who I don't know if you were paying attention, but on Luminosity they got top 6, so they're going to actually go into the LAN as the 5th seed, which I think maybe to a lot of people could be surprising. What do you think about that Luminosity roster? Have they surprised you a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I'm liking this roster a lot. I mean, it's just like a lot of young guns, with the experience with I guess of Piggy now. Like he's been doing it for a while, where he's like contesting a lot of the top teams very well. Yeah, I just like the makeup of their team. Right, they have the young guns. They have a lot of energy. They have a lot of passion, and they play the game very well. Right, like it's the 4th year of Infinite. There's a certain way you have to play the game, and I feel like that's something they kind of have down. So I like that they. I've been kind of challenging these top teams and like to get, would you say fifth seed going into the tournament?
Yeah, they're 5th seed.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really good for them.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think Avicii specifically is super impressive. Like he's, I think, only like 17 or something, and I think he really turned a lot of heads when he like subbed in for what's now TSM. I think when Last Shot wasn't there, actually. Yeah, so Last Shot like couldn't make it to an open, and then he subs in, and they did insane.
Yep.
But do you have any specific questions that we should ask Piggy? Maybe any behind the scenes things?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. Just like how he's feeling about his team. Just because I know he's like grinding it out every single year. I'm sure he's going through like a bunch of different rosters. I know like he made a tweet saying like he hasn't really had a team where he was able to grind like more than a month before the event. So it's definitely something I'm curious about, just like going through all the motions with different teams, but like finally having like a really good team he's able to put in the work with his team.
Perfect. No, that's a great thing to ask. Awesome, man. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us as long as you did. I think we're somewhat biased casters and love to root for you. So we're excited to see you next weekend. We'll be casting remotely for the Kason thing. We're not going to physically be there, but I'm sure we'll get to cast you playing. So put on a show for us, all right?
Hey, you know I got you, bro. Thank you guys for having me as well. Hopefully everyone has a great night.
Appreciate you, man.
Much love,
Brad.
Brad. Take
Congrats.
care, homie.
Good luck next
Hey,
week.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, there goes our champion, Frosty. 3 out of 4 wins in the lead up to the major qualifier here today, where Shopify Rebellion take the 1 seed going into Arlington. We're going to be going into one of our last segments of the night here. We got Piggy, who we're going to just try to do this on the fly, I imagine. Bring him in as a 4th. We got Isaac, our producer, trying to get in touch with Piggy. In the meantime, though, I want to, I think this is a good little filler until we get Piggy in the mix. International competition. A lot of teams feeling great about getting top 8 NA Open. But there are 4 teams across the pond that could absolutely steal those spots. Tapping Buttons being back in Mexico for the whole year, I think is going to be huge for that region. I have very high hopes for his team, Ether Gaming. And then, as has been the case in Halo Infinite's lifespan, 2 badass EU squads. And don't ever count out Scoobmeister and the boys from ANZ. Eli, I can see you nodding along with this international discussion we're having here. What are your thoughts?
I mean, all these international teams could very well make a run to top 8. Like they're going to force their way through the open bracket. I think the open bracket teams are going to have a tough time joining into pool play, whoever makes it out. But I would not want to run into a hot team from Mexico or EU. By the way, the 7th seed is going to be Team Nemesis, which is that SLG Wutum roster, Glory, Snipe Drone, and Pipa should be the 11th seed. So they're going to start in pool play, but MX and ANZ going to have to fight their way through the open bracket, and I would say they're almost a lock to make it out, looking at all the other teams that are going to be playing in open. We'll take a look through everything else. Maybe with Piggy, we'll pull it up to see what he thinks. But it's going to be a bloodbath, I think, in the open bracket, and these international teams are going to show up.
Piggy.
Oh, we got
Can you
Piggy
hear
on
us?
deck. Let's go.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Nice. Yeah, with the cam as well. Love that, brother. Hey, man, I just first and foremost, I want to say congratulations on the ascension and the grind throughout the offseason. I was talking about it with the guys earlier. You've really taken on like an IGL leadership captain style role. And it's almost like one of those things where you didn't look around and ask anybody to do it. You just put in the work to achieve it. And now you've got the placing and the seeding going into Arlington to prove it. How do you feel about your growth throughout Halo from rookie to veteran to now, like I say, like a captain's type for one of the top teams in Halo, man? This is exciting for you, dude. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey. Definitely had some ups and downs. Like, my first LAN was an invitational, Anaheim, and I played Optic my first
Tony
series.
Sun?
Yep, Tony
Was that
Sun,
with
Carmea, and Neuronical.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's right.
not Neuronical. Cycle. So
Yes.
Wow.
Oh wow, was that an ESA team?
yeah, I think
You guys were
we
Torrents?
were ESA, and then we went with UYU.
You
So
were-
that
Oh,
Actual
that's
event.
right.
That's
UIU,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a long
And
time
that was
ago
when like
now,
it was
but-
supposed to have fans, and then it ended up being closed, and you guys had like tents and stuff, right? The warm-up tents that you had to sit
Yeah,
in.
that was a
Yeah.
COVID event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was pretty cool.
That was your
Everyone had
first
their own
tournament?
Station. Yep, it's my first tournament,
Oh, that would be like a culture shock for me. What the?
and I had to play against Optic my first series, so it's interesting. But
Was that? And that was still Ola though, right?
yep, that was
Oh, wow,
Ola's
so
last
yeah, so
tournament, actually.
Oh
Wow.
wow. Okay.
So you can say you were one of the last people that got to play against Ola. That's a interesting tidbit. By the way, I wanted to talk about Ola, but we'll focus on Piggy for now. By the way, Mikowski did it again. He just, as soon as the guest joins, he just asks him the most loaded question imaginable. Like,
Before
Can
you
you
can
just,
introduce.
like,
I love it. I
let
like
him-
that
gotta
format
watch
though.
him-
I like the format.
him
Honestly,
breathe.
I like it like that.
I gotta watch some
Shotgun
VOD
question.
too. I guess I gotta watch some VOD too. We'll sharpen it up on the next one. There's a mouthful to talk about with Piggy because his rise through HCS has been one of the farthest jumps up the rankings, up the tiers. Piggy, we were rattling around top 12, top 16, and now you have a solidified top 5 squad. That is incredible. I'm here to, even if it takes too many words, I'm here to celebrate it. But let's talk about your teammates, Piggy. You're the veteran. You're the grizzled veteran now, no longer that rookie going up against Optic in Anaheim. back a couple years ago. Talk me through the composition of your roster. You got to have some of the nastiest, outside of like a last shot in a cycle, some of the nastiest up-and-coming, high-ceiling players in Halo.
Yeah, I think everyone on my team is very underrated historically, or just straight up unknown. Like, a lot of players probably don't know who Avicii is unless you've actually been in the scene and stuff. Mortally has had some interesting roster stuff happen to him over the years as well, just like I have. So he's been kind of up and down. And then Yaxon's kind of a somewhat newer player. He's had some good rosters, teaming with like Commons team a lot last year. So, but they're all like kind of, getting their footing, and we're feeling really good now.
Yeah, from my perspective, like it's always been obvious to me that you guys were good, like individually, but you've had your tumultuous like team situations, and like you even said yourself, you never even got to practice with a single team for more than a month, until hopefully now it'll be a longer stint with these guys. But it does also feel like each of you are also kind of playing better than you ever have, specifically with this roster. Is there like just maybe more energy and excitement in this group? Do you guys just like clicked really well the first time you loaded into the map together? Because it does feel like you're getting to practice with them, but it also feels a little bit effortless in some respect. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think all 4 players just naturally have a great chemistry together. We all know what we're doing on the map. I don't really take too much into stats, but if you look at the stats, like everyone is consistently doing their part over time. Some people have bad games or whatever, but that when one person's having a bad game, the other 3 are just going to be doing their thing, and we're just going to dominate a lot of teams.
Taking a look at your pool, it looks like you guys have got Space Station, Complexity, and then that Open One competitor. How do you feel about your pool?
We talked about it in the call earlier. We were kind of seeing who was in our pool, like how we feel about it. And first of all, I'm excited. I was like, guys, the goal is to 3-0. That's like our expectation going into it. Go 3-0 in our pool, get revenge against SSG. They beat us today. We've been battling against Complexity a lot, so that'll be fun too. And then the open bracket team, whoever it is, we're gonna be ready for.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's gonna be the number 1 open bracket team. So the team that makes it out of winners and has more points. Which, looking at some of the open bracket teams, I'm projecting to be like either the Ether, which is the number 1 MX team, Ascending Baseline. I guess Mind Freak is a possibility. Is there anyone in particular that you think, when you look at the open bracket, who do you expect to make it out in that first seed?
Well, I believe straight up points, Mind Freak would have the number 1 seed. So if they make it out, we play them. But in terms of matchups, I really think the Latin Americans have a good shot.
Yeah.
Beating that European team, I think. I really like that Latin American team. I've played them a lot, so they are possibly like a top 8 team from what I've seen and what we've seen historically. So they actually did just make a team change though, so we'll have to see how that plays out.
What team change did they make?
Like last night or 2 nights ago, they dropped Noble for Lior.
Okay, so just like kind of the same
Wow.
carousel.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was a visa thing or something. I know some of those players have struggled with their travel. Wonder if it's that, or if it was just a straight up team drop
Noble
situation.
shouldn't have that issue because from what I understand, Noble literally lives like in the town right across the border from San Antonio.
Oh,
He comes over
okay.
quite a bit, is what Ozwe was telling me. They probably just... I mean, Lior is one of the better players out of that region, so...
Oh, for sure.
They probably just are trying to put together like the best LATAM team that's a little bit different. Because Lior would always replace Ozbe. He would never actually be on the team with Tapping. I like that move though, I think. Because then that makes it Acid, Drift, Tapping, Lior.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the 4 strongest LATAM players in all reality.
Yeah, they're going to be tough.
can
I do
play.
expect them to be the team that makes it out with the number 1 seed out of Open, personally.
Johan is god.
Yeah, Johan's team's going to be tough too.
Can Johan play now?
I don't. Is he on the team with Pelugad? I need to do my research a little
Johan's
better.
Colombian, I'm pretty sure. So from what
Every
I know,
region can
Colombians
play. I
they
believe,
can now. Okay,
from
they unlocked
the
it.
Latin
Cool.
American regions. Yeah.
All right, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because Johan is god. So I've
He's
been
very good.
playing him in matchmaking nonstop, and it's so annoying.
It does not appear that he's on any of the
don't
rosters
see him
on Ashman's list. The second place LATAM
Pelu
team
on
is
anything?
Noble, Pelugad, Rorsch, and Strikey. Rorsch and Strikey were on that alpha roster with Leor, and they were very good as well. But
Yeah, they were
let's
like number 1 LATAM when Ozbe was on NNA. Like
Let's
Roar,
shift back to
Strikey.
the tournament today, though. Who were some of the teams that you played today? I know you didn't end up on the broadcast, really. Maybe there was an observer in some of your matches, but walk us through your tournament experience today, I guess, starting from like round 5.
All right. So our first matchup was against Kraken Seas, which is like Glitchy, Ice Kid, Collective, and Leaderness. I believe they're going to be the number 1 open bracket team after today. But it's a pretty solid 3-0 out of my team. We were feeling good. And then next up, we played Triggers Down. And they took the first game off us. It was a really close Live Fire King. And then we started to gain momentum back. We won the Slayer. A little dicey towards the end, but we pulled it out. And then we started just dominating the rest of the series. And then we just played SSG last, and they ended up beating us 3-1. That was a pretty close
What happened to that
series.
bench hill?
I
I could tell something happened.
Ask about that.
Yeah, I was gonna, because you guys had that. I remember I was like driving back home from family stuff, and I was like, "Holy shit, they're gonna make a game 5." And then I picked back up my phone, and SSG was up. I was like, "Oh, something tragic happened here." I think.
Yeah, it was crazy. We had it like down to 1 tick left, and they didn't have anything. And then we just went full dead. We tried wrapping blue to yard, didn't work. We had a guy like S1, and I was playing with him. That didn't work either. Our timing just was off, and then we spawned up, and they just capped it.
It's all over.
They also had camo though, so it did make it more complicated.
Man, so like as like, because I mean you still like are pretty newer, right? Like I know you played for a long time and like you've competed for a minute now, but like when stuff like that happens, I know it's online cups. Are you just kind of like, let's figure out how to not make that happen again, or like how are you helping out like your team? Because I know Mortally's got a pretty good, he's a pretty cerebral guy. Like he talks about like game theory a lot and stuff. So does Yak, but like I know that like I know a little bit of your dynamic. I obviously don't know Avicii, but like, and is the conversation just like, yo, let's just figure out why that happened, not make that mistake again, or is there like a little bit of tilt and like frustration?
Well, obviously, right after you lose, there's always going to be that little bit of, dude, what just happened?
Yeah.
But realistically, after pretty much every time we're done playing, whether it's scrims or tournaments, we go straight into the games, look at like the bad moments, especially just briefly, and then we talk about it a little bit. And then, we also have VOD where we just go over general things, but that's something I like about this team is we go over like our worst moments immediately, no matter whether it's a big tournament like this or whether it's just a simple scrim. Like, because when we do something really bad, we want to fix it like immediately.
Yeah.
Man, Piggy, you have this like extremely calming aura about you. Like even just the way that you speak, and I feel like even in game you're like this too, where like you don't get too worked up. You're never too high, never too low. Do you feel like it almost feels like the young teammates that you have around you kind of need somebody that's as calm as you are? Do you feel like that's kind of the value? Do you find yourself often like keeping them in check if they get a little off the rails?
Yeah, we've kind of been in a bit of a slump the past week up into this tournament. We were bickering and arguing a bit, and I realized myself like I'm so neutral and calm that I'm not actually like positive enough sometimes, So I said like, okay, I'm gonna be more positive today, And I think everyone was a little more positive today, and it really helped our gameplay a lot.
Love that. I think it's important. Psychology is so interesting in any kind of sport or competition that like just generally being in a good mood makes people play better. We just got done talking to Frosty, and he said that like his team probably has more fun than anybody out there. Like if you listen to their scrims, they're just laughing and joking and having a good time. So I think that just being a positive role model for your squad can go a long way, especially with younger guys on the squad. I mean, they're very mature for their age for sure, but like, I mean, everybody's still going to play different based on their mood, right? So to me, I think that's your role with this squad, and obviously just being a voice of reason when this team needs it. I wanted to ask you specifically about teaming with Avicii. This is a guy that, like you said, a lot of people might not know. You think he's currently technically the youngest, he will be the youngest player in pool play qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken, at 17 years old. What's it been like teaming with him? When was the first time you played with him, and when did you know that you wanted to team with him?
So I actually found out about him last year. He had that little good AM team of Ivanized, Etzo, Sylvanik. You know, no one really knew who those guys were other than Sylvanik at that point. And then I actually played them in Atlanta in the open bracket, and we had a miracle play to beat them. So that's kind of when I said, like, okay, these guys are actually pretty good. I'm gonna keep an eye on these guys. And then the off season came around. A lot of stuff happened. You know, can't even begin to go into off season roster and stuff. But
This is a crazy offseason.
ultimately, I just remember actually Frosty mentioned to me one time, like very randomly, like Piggy and Avicii. That would be a good team. It was just like some random comment he made, but it just stuck with me, and I was like, I've kind of been thinking about it, and it just worked out that way.
It kind of makes sense. I feel like you guys' play styles like balance each other out. Like he's got his young crackhead energy, and you're just like playing it cool, sitting back, like watching him, overlooking what he's doing. You could probably like reel him in a little bit if he's going a little bit too ham as well. And maybe he encourages you to speed up in the other spots. Like, I don't know. It feels like you guys do work really well together. And then Yaxon, similar vibe as well. I don't know. I'm really excited. I did want to ask you because I work with Mr. Thug Nasty every day at my 9 to 5 days a week. What's it like having him as a coach for you guys?
Yeah, I think Thug's been a really good addition to our team. You know, he's more than a coach. He's like a great guy to be around. He's always vibing. He's a great manager. Like, always has our backs on, like, you know, anything we need from him, really. And then in regards to coaching, you know, he's a very good coach. He's always emphasizing like camos. He times it after we pop it. So he's like, your camo runs out at 5 seconds. And that's like, that's always
super
huge.
helpful.
That's one of my favorite things about coaches, that specific thing. Like, I need to make a play now, you know?
Yeah. That's cool.
But-
Love to hear
but
that.
yeah,
he's
been
just a
really
great
good,
guy.
yeah.
Shout out to Nick, Mr. Thug Nasty, if he's watching. I saw him saying goodbye to Chad earlier, but he's usually always lurking regardless. I feel like I've been dominating the questions. Did you have anything you wanted to ask him, Mikowski?
Piggy, you've taken a big leap this offseason. Again, just I think from a cerebral role, I see your tweets and you're talking more about leadership again, and your placings have shown it. What have you learned about yourself throughout this offseason heading into Season 4, where you seem primed for your best year yet of Halo Infinite?
Well, it all started towards the end of last season, really. I reached out to some pros. I was like, hey, man, what am I doing wrong? Why am I, like, plateaued here? And they were like, you just got to become, like, a stronger player. You know, I've always had a good shot or whatever, but I just find myself dying in certain situations, and I worked really hard in the off season on, like you said, gaining that cerebral level, taking it higher, and I think it's really helped me in these tournaments so far.
What was some of the specific feedback you got?
One of them was like, I try and help the team play too much, and I need to really work on my individual, like, micro, just focus on yourself, and it will in turn benefit my team rather than focusing on my team and trying to, like, force something to happen in that way. That was probably like the
great
biggest
advice.
feedback I got.
That's like the refactor in your brain. Like, try to do the same stuff but more for yourself type deal.
Yeah, and it really helped. Like, I've always been someone who gets a lot of assists historically, but ultimately, if those assists aren't turning into additional like plays made for my team, they're just kind of like dead assists where I die to a one shot and then he gets cleaned up. Like, what's the point, right? I need to live, and then extend
space.
It does make sense. I feel like watching you like in past seasons, like when you were on Team LVT, for example, you would often have like the highest accuracy, most damage dealt, and your stats would look great, but you guys lost the game. And it's like you're always outputting massive damage, but it's not always converting into a positive result, like winning the actual game. But now it feels like almost everything you do on the map is intentional and with purpose. And now the damage and accuracy that you have is actually being realized. And it helps that you've got a bunch of young, super fast players on your team that are just going to fly at everything you call out. So I don't know. It's really cool to see your evolution. I've really enjoyed it. I've been saying for a while now, this guy's underrated. You guys need to pay attention to my man Piggy. I got to ask you about the gamer tag though, because I was talking about this the other day and I was like, I feel like other players haven't taken him as seriously because his gamer tag is Piggy. And it's like a subconscious thing and like you're too friendly. Then like, I don't know. Where does the gamer tag come from?
I mean, me and my brother used to play Minecraft, and then we just started calling each other like Piggy, and we still do sometimes. Like he's like in his 30s, but yeah, that's pretty much sticks. Now my nephews call me Uncle Piggy at this point, so I mean I can't get rid of it now.
Yeah, true.
But I did have that little ghost stint for a couple weeks.
I thought that was a sick
you
tag.
had one tournament
like
this
that.
off season on Ghost.
2, I think. Yeah.
I was just trolling you guys with that, but
That's what we thought.
I think it's a good tag.
Yeah, I mean, you
Rebrand.
did a good job.
If I
It
could
is a good tag.
rebrand, that would be a good rebrand. But I'm just Piggy at this point. Like,
I think Piggy's fine.
I like Piggy.
Abbacy says, "Oh hell no" in chat. I guess when we're talking about Ghost, I don't know.
yeah,
I had to get this
Avuchi,
one.
Yeah.
Avusi, yeah, some of our most faded casting moments were casting Avicii when he was teaming with Ivanize and them. We really went off the
We
rails
didn't know how
with
to
the
pronounce his
Avusis.
name, so we just made it up, and yeah.
Does he even know how to say his name? We'll have him on the podcast at some point. I want to get to this before we scroll too far past it. This is from Todini, who I know is one of your biggest supporters. She asks, how was it for him with all the initial team changes during the offseason this year and now to end up in Luminosity?
I mean, it's always a roller coaster. I think I just lose hair every off season trying to figure out what happens. I thought it was good. We had like our team, like we were running it back, but you guys know how it is. Like nothing's ever safe.
And
Yeah.
there's so much pressure to make a team change when literally everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, when Ryan Noob comes calling, like they've had success. Like Ryan Noob and Descendant have had great success together. So a lot of like top 6s and stuff last year. So it's completely understandable. Like
They
what
don't even make it
works-
to the first tournament.
But yeah, teams never work out how you think they will. But ultimately, I'm really happy with my team. I think we all found each other, and it's kind of like meant to be. I don't know.
How did the Luminosity stuff come into picture? Like, did somebody on your team reach out to somebody specific, or like how did that happen?
I mean, they keep like eyes on the scene, always thinking about like, hey, is there a team that we like? Can we get in? And then, yeah, like we kind of reached out to them, said, do you guys have any interest in coming back? And then it kind of just worked out. We had some discussions. They liked what they saw with our team after the first week or two, and then it was a done deal.
Okay, just like that. Just got to show up and do well in the tournaments. Eventually, you get noticed, right?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess
it
how we
helps
all
that
did
I
it.
was already on the team a couple years
Mhm.
ago, so they like know me. They like kind of trust like what I had to say. I always think that helps. But
A little
For
bit
sure.
of rapport goes a long way, that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, we didn't want to take too much of your time. I did want to congratulate you once again for getting 5th place or 5th seed now going into the LAN. That's massive. So you guys
Huge,
are,
dude.
Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
right outside the top 4. Not going to be at KSON. I'm sure you'll be watching and studying those top teams go at it, but it's kind of a long way until LAN. We got like basically a whole month off for you guys. Do you have any plans? Is it just going to be a lot of scrims, or what are you going to do the next 4 weeks?
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much just more of the same. Now that there's no tournaments, we're gonna really have time to do more VOD and stuff, really work on our foundation. Kind of have been just so busy. It's been hard to build that foundation, but that's why we're really excited. We have a whole month to focus on things like how we want to get camos, you know, how we want to set up on certain things and really talk about that. Because as you guys know, we haven't had the most experience in terms of playing this game at a high level, in terms of like scrimming high ranking teams. So I think we're only gonna get a lot better before Arlington.
Well, hell
Awesome.
yeah,
We can't
brother.
wait to watch it. Yeah.
Congrats to Piggy and all of your growth and your massive leap, man. It's been so fun to watch you progress through the Halo ranks, and I think really doing it the right way and shepherding the youth and the future of Halo along with him as a now veteran leader in the Halo community. So big ups to Piggy as we salute you one last time. GG's on the 5th seed going into Arlington as we let him make his way out. Any final words before we let you go?
Yeah. Where can people find you? Shout out the Twitch channel and everything.
You can just find me on PiggyEX on Twitch. Pretty much just my gamer tag. Come hang out, come say hi. I love to have you guys. And pretty much just thank you guys for the invite to the show. I had a lot of fun, I think. And thank you guys for all the support that you guys always give me. I know you guys are always gassing me up. Like, that goes a long way. I notice it. Like, my team notices it whenever you guys say nice things. So I really appreciate it from all 3 of you. I know you all have said good things.
Shout out Tibby. Shout out Tibby the goat.
Tibby's
I
smiling.
don't know how many times when stuff was going real south, he'd be just message me Piggy, and I'm like, it's not up to me, man. I'm down. We almost ran games with you though, actually, randomly. Fun fact, but
Native white.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
It would have. I think it was for Salt Lake, maybe.
In another
After
universe,
Alex?
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Right,
say in a
sure.
parallel timeline, Piggy and you guys played together on Native White,
Yeah.
but
Tibby tried.
this timeline's pretty exciting too. So, yeah, no problem. I guess in response to your thanks, I just call it like I see it, man. I see good talent. I got to shout it out. So, I'm just excited to see what you do out there. I'm not gonna, I guess, make it any different than that. We're excited to watch you guys play, and good luck, man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Later, Piggy.
All right. Well, Piggy rides off into the dark of the night as the new dark horse in the HCS. It's just the 3 of us to wind things down here on Tide the Leader live via LVT Halo. I want to give a huge thanks again to LVT for allowing us to have our platform on or our podcast on their platform. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, both LVT and ours, which is a brand new YouTube channel. So we previously have been uploading channels or episodes to myself and Eli's channel. Now it's all living under one Tide the Leader roof. So if anybody in chat can pop that in there so you guys can hit the subscribe button, we'd appreciate that. But boys, as we wind things down, I want to douse the flames of what I think is the hottest topic right now. What is going on with SSG? They're the defending champs, and while sure they've lost Bound and Legend, you still got Eco and Stellar, who, let's recall, I think got a lot of the bulk of the credit for why they won the Halo World Championship last year. What's going on with them, Mikwen? You first.
I mean, we the loaded questions again, but it's dude, it's like one like. I will say so everybody knows, like, obviously, like, Eco's like one of my closest friends from Halo, so there's a bias here of like, you know, I want this team to like win, right? But personally, on a personal like friendship aspect. But like to me, and not like I don't think there's like I know people are like pointing fingers at specific people. That's not the problem. I do think you have a situation where like, Lucid is been kind of like the king of this game. I think most people would say, right?
Yeah, the season 1 MVP.
Season 1 MVP, like just really good, solid gameplay throughout all of Infinite. Never really going negative that much, right? Stats don't tell the whole story, but just never being looked at as like playing not great, right? And I think you saw kind of near the end of last year a little bit of like maybe there was like a blemish here that we hadn't seen throughout Infinite, where like just slowing down a little bit, getting a little bit more reserved, and like things kind of falling apart for like him specifically. And I think we're seeing that like kind of compound on SSG, where like where the and how do I say this without like it's going to come off as slightly toxic, even though I don't think it's full like toxic at all. But from my understanding of like playing against these players throughout the years, when it comes to like Lucid and Snakebite, when they're uncomfortable, their kind of go-to is to play reserved and not scam, right? They don't want to screw the game up. And I think what's happening is I think they're all four pretty uncomfortable, right? You're seeing a lot of deaths from Stellar, like a lot more abnormal, like he has an outlier in the deaths department when it comes to like the team, like a lot more deaths compared to everybody. And then you have like Eco's an outlier in the kill department, right? And then you have like Snakebite and Lucid who like they'll have their series, they'll have their games where they take over and are like just playing like themselves, but it's never at the same time, and it's never like it's not happening at like a consistent rate at the moment. I would say, right? They're not doing it for like a 3-game stretch, and I think because of that, like everyone's just really uncomfortable. There's a lot of hesitating that I see going on. There's a lot of like space that's being taken against them that they could probably prevent with just a little bit more movement on the map. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where like it's not the end of the world. I think all of those things that I've said are completely solvable. I think that with their experience and like their intelligence and their emotional maturity, I think it's very likely that they would be able to fix these problems. But that's what I'm seeing is just like kind of a hesitating, like lack of confidence in their play. I'm not going to speak to their mindset, right? Because I truly don't know, but just lack of confidence in play. Like just one of those situations, like you'd see just sprint and look the wrong way in one play, and then suddenly they have two people flying at them and they can't get map, right?
Yeah. I think I agree with that sentiment. There's like an undertone of just passive Halo being played that doesn't fit the 4 players on that squad. They're supposed to run at your face and take you down, bloody your nose. That's kind of what I think of when I think of all 4 of those guys. Eli, your thoughts overarching on why SSG has just been coming up a little bit short this offseason?
I don't know. It's frustrating. I've talked about it a few times already, like earlier on the cast and then towards the beginning of the show, just like the hesitation that I'm seeing from them. It doesn't feel like they're quite flowing on the map subconsciously the way that like Shopify does, for example. I think that Shopify, what makes them so special is there's a lot of unconscious decisions that are being made, and they're just gelling perfectly to be in the right place at the right time. I feel like SSG doesn't have that like unconscious flow state just yet with each other. They're still like maybe feeling each other out a little bit. But like Austin said, like these guys are brilliant minds. They're emotionally intelligent. They're in-game intelligent. They're going to figure it out. I think that also it could have been a slow start for Eco and Stellar. It felt like we didn't see them as much until like right before they needed to show up. So I don't know if they took like an extended vacation. I mean, they just won the World Championship. They deserved an extended vacation. But I don't know. I think that I'm not that worried about this team actually, because once they get on LAN, these guys just kick into a different gear. Like, I don't know. I feel like once they get to LAN, they're going to really step it up a notch, especially like Eco specifically. I thought that towards the end of last year when they were winning everything, Eco in a lot of games looked like the best player in the universe. And then I haven't really seen that Eco yet this in this offseason in these online events. But like when he wants to turn up, he will turn up. And I think that's when this squad evolves, personally. I mean,
you see the stats, like the damage dealt per life isn't really abnormally any different, right? It's not like he's not active on the map. Obviously, Lucid's kind of an outlier on the whole team, but it's just like Yeah, I mean, people like to point fingers at him. I don't think. I think it's one of those things where like they're just very disjointed, and it's just they can't all walk at once. Like that QWOP game, right? And someone's not pressing P right, or something.
Yeah. While real quick, while we're talking about this, and hopefully they're not watching, but can we pull up the Optic SSG Aqua Slayer game? Like starting at, I guess, like 41 to 29. Was that what one of the score lines was?
It's 40-30,
about half,
I think.
40-30 basically
Yeah.
in the Optic SSG. So SSG came out hot against Optic, one game won, and then had like a 12 kill lead in the Slayer on Aqua. And then something falls off the rails and somehow Optic come back to win it. I want to watch that again and just see if we can figure out or point out the moments that we're talking about where it feels like they're hesitating.
Well, that's it, right? The hesitation and almost that idea that we're up so big, let's play not to lose. That is not the aggressive, proactive style of Halo that we've seen win tournaments. So I almost think that SSG got maybe lulled into a false sense of passive security that wasn't actually there.
I think that especially, and maybe you can correct me on this, Austin, but like on this map specifically, the worst thing that you can do is stay in the base.
Yeah.
Because
you have
it's
map.
just, yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
like if you can be in the window and it's a good complementary position to a teammate that's like P2 or car 3, but if you don't have a teammate that's P2 or car 3, like you should be getting out of the base as quickly as possible in most cases. But it felt like when they had this lead, they kind of opted to just chill. Like right now they're up by 14, by the way.
Is that 37 to 23?
It was a moment ago before, Optic gets 24. But like, let's just watch and see exactly
the
what
comeback
happens.
kind of starts right here, but it's like already, right? Like they were just fridge, they're still fridge, and you see how much time Optic took to clear like yellow fridge and stuff. Like SSG last year is getting into blue base. They're having two people peel to blue base instantly, right? In that situation, it's just like that. They were all four doing a P push, and they just didn't finish the lane. They turned around and got like stuck in the middle of the road. And I just think that like, for whatever reason, they all are trying to kind of fill the same gaps. And again, I don't think that that's even really that. I don't.
Let's think about this.
Difficult of a fix, but
Let's think about this from like a composition standpoint. Okay.
They're all by themselves.
Think about last year's SSG. Who are the most aggressive players on that squad? It was probably Bound and Legend, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got like Eco and Stellar holding down the back and mid lines. Stellar can get very
really
aggressive sometimes.
I think Stellar's really aggressive.
But, like,
I would actually probably put Stellar over Legend.
Okay.
In terms of aggro.
I still feel like
aggro though too, but Stellar's always hitting a lane. It feels like
for sure.
At least when I play against him.
I think you're right as well. Stellar can have that gear, but like if it's a map with a sniper, he's not going to be as aggressive, right? Because he's going to be the guy that sits back. And then they pick up Snakebite and Lucid, who I feel like had similar roles to like Eco on their own squads previously. So it's like you're not having anyone that's just holding forward, or maybe it's only Stellar that's holding forward, and then he's just getting decimated.
Yeah.
And
if you go look at
it's
like the stats, that kind of paints that picture a little bit.
It kind of feels like someone else on SSG needs to start holding forward.
Well,
I don't know. That's
composition's been the kind of like the talk of SSG, like the composition, the chemistry's just not there yet. Well, you can't have any chemistry when you're all by yourself. How many times in these highlights have we seen somebody with a wide radius around them of no teammate activity, and they're not even looking? Even if you're off spot, that's fine, but they're not even looking in the direction to cover over a Lucid who's bottom mid with no help.
Is this 46-38, by the way? Okay.
Yeah, it's 47-38, and then it's like every time I'm like noticing it, it's like there's just Optic just is like in the middle of the map running around like looking for kills, and it's like yeah, you're gonna get some of those kills, right? But the moment you don't, you're gonna get just absolutely collapsed. And I think that that's probably what's gonna end up happening, right? They don't trade out in the middle of the map. Optic gets full map, gets camo, and now you're in a staggered blender where they're just gonna. It's like attrition, right?
All of these plays have been one by one by one by one. They're actually playing so individually at a deficit. You don't see many double kills because they're not even playing close enough together to go down as a group.
Yeah, and again, that's not like a. It's not a how do I say this? Like, it's not a hard thing to pinpoint and solve, but it is really hard to implement that like quickly. If that makes sense. Like, it does take a lot of time to iron that kind of problem out, where like
It
you're
just feels
kind of disjointed and like the gaps aren't filled and stuff.
like you compare what we're watching to any game that has Shopify in it, and it's like Shopify are flying 2 at a time through the same area, maybe third guy with like a slightly off angle, and they're just pushing out an area where it's like Space Station don't feel like they're just naturally hitting that. It's very stutter stepped. Like Snakebite's here looking through car 3. Does he have a teammate that's pushing car 2? No. I feel like he needs to have a teammate that's watching him on the car side, but instead they're making this play through the P side, and it's like it almost feels like they just have different ideas of what they want to accomplish here.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, to me, also, there may be, like, a fear of, like, trying not to crowd the comms, right? So, like, you have a lot of play callers, and there may be, like, kind of that. Obviously, I don't hear the comms, like, I don't know, but there could be, like, an issue, too, where it's, like, you know, maybe Eco doesn't feel as comfortable to hit his play call because, like, he's afraid that Lucid might hit a play call. Or like vice versa, right? Lucid may not make the play call because it's like, you know how like when you're trying to go for the flag,
Sorry.
and like, yeah, you're good. But you know how like when you're trying to go towards the flag and like pull it and like you both split and neither player pulls it.
Yes, it's
And you're
because
like, I thought
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I thought you had it. Like
It-
that
Yeah, yeah.
is like if at the micro level, what's happening with them?
there's too much deference. They're
Yeah.
deferring to the other because it's like, well,
Yeah.
this guy's got an MVP. Well, I got an MVP too, but like this guy's got an MVP, so maybe I should just listen to him.
Yeah.
Like that isn't exactly obviously what's going on in the Discord or in the comms for them. But you're right, Austin. I think they're deferring too much, which could speak to why they look so passive.
Yeah, I think maybe like a just you don't want to make things like too structured and too blueprinty, right? Because like Halo is very like situational, but like the stuff that you can kind of structure out and do is like, hey, like we should probably look to like, let's just use like a fake arbitrary list, but like we should probably look to Kevin for game direction, right? Like we're in this situation, he makes a call, do it. But we should probably look to like you know, PJ for like game theory, right? And that type of stuff out of the game or whatever, right? And you can kind of go over that stuff of like come up with a plan and what would work, they think. And that may help, especially when you're older, that type of stuff does kind of help. But yeah, it is like mind scratching, like very confusing.
Yeah, I think we've talked about a lot of the ways that they can improve, and I'm sure they're having similar conversations too. It's like we can't even claim to know better than them. These guys are all incredibly talented individuals, and they're going to figure it out over time, I think. But
Yeah,
it does feel
I
like
think the
it's
good
not a
thing is they'll stay
natural
confident.
process. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they'll stay confident as well, which is really important. Like it's really easy when you're younger and kind of new to the scene to like kind of go through these woes and be like, wow, like, you know, this isn't going to get any better. But I think all of these guys have been on teams that like started off not great and actually became a lot better. Especially Snakebite. Like Snakebite, every team he's on like improves.
Oh yeah.
Going back to the like really far back. So like it's not
Halo
just
3, the first time I saw the kid play on the
yeah, like his reach
when he was
teams,
like
dude.
13.
His reach teams would be like not that great, and they would just like get a lot better. And yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like it's really easy to look at it on the surface and be like, wow, this team's chalked, right? But with like education and like knowing these people, like actually on like a personal level and like knowing like their work tendencies and like the way they think about the game and game theory, like Eco didn't forget how to play Halo. Like I talk to him about game theory all the time. Like the guy is probably one of the most intelligent Halo players of all time when it comes to that stuff. And that's not a skill that you lose, right? But there could be like, you know, what if, and again, this is me, I really don't know this, but it's like putting myself in their shoes, like how frustrating would it be to have to hit the restart button going into this year, right? Like you have the year that you just had, and then you have to hit the restart button basically. Like it would be a lot to muster up the like strength to like give full effort, maybe for a little bit. I think.
Good point.
I think the case online is going to really help in that sense of like kind of kick them in the ass of like, okay, yo, like, come on, like, we had the year that we just had. Like, let's actually like put in like full effort here. And
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that like not trying in scrims or something, but just like the frustration that might set in can kind of lead to maybe less effort, if that makes sense. Like maybe you're like, I don't want to get on for matchmaking tonight because I'm tilted at it. Because why do I even have to play matchmaking this night? Because I won 4 tournaments last year and Worlds, and I'm having to hit the restart button. I should have to not play that much matchmaking right now.
That's honestly a great point from a psychological standpoint. It's probably very difficult. I feel like Eco has this history of having rosters that win and then somebody leaves him. Like it happened with Renegade too, right? Like they were winning with Renegade, then Renegade leaves, and then Eco's like, okay, then I win with Bound and Legend, and now they're leaving.
No.
Like, do I really have to do this again?
So we'll do some like fun like backstory stuff here, like some lore. So during the off season, like I was talking to Kevin a good amount, and I found out about the Optic thing, and I let him know, like, hey, like this might be happening, bro. And he's like, dude, there's no way. And then he finds out and that it was possible, and him and I are talking about it, and like we're friends, and he was like, I was like, how you feeling? He's like, dude, why does everybody fucking leave me?
Yeah,
like was what he said, and I was like, I don't know.
It's gonna have trust issues, man.
It sucks, and like, I think I understand from the younger player that he is older, right? And like older players like have not the best rep, right? Like me, like we like.
Hey, what are you talking about, man? No.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's just like it's like
no. There's definitely this idea that it's like time to take him out to the pasture, right?
Exactly,
like,
exactly.
It's an old steer.
But I think that Kevin may end up being the anomaly in that sense. I think he already is, right? But I think that he's going to prove that he's the anomaly in that sense. But with that comes like a little bit of a harder path because, I put myself in my shoes too when I was 19. Like I'm teaming with Walsh, right? And it got to a point where it was like, yo, we can't team with Walsh anymore, right? Like he's just not like as into it as we need him to be, and like he's a little bit older, and like it's probably what sports teams go through with like their quarterbacks and stuff too. Like, hey, like 37, like we got 2 more years out of this guy. Like I think that does get into players' minds of like, hey, he's older than me, so he's 32 now. Like I think that if you're Bound or Legend, you look at it and go, Optic in this situation, or do we go with a 32-year-old and maybe win out this year, but what happens? And I'm not going to fault them
the
for that
Optic
thought
allure
process
as well. I mean, they probably grew up watching Optic teams in every esport, and maybe even dreamed of being on Optic one day, and then they finally have the opportunity to team with the GOAT. Like, it's understandable, but it's also perplexing to somebody that like just started watching esports. They're like, they won 4 out of 5 and then broke up. Like, what?
They had a dynasty and then what?
I'm telling you right now, if I'm Kevin and that happens to me, I'm not playing this year. Like my mental, if I win 4 out of 5, win Worlds, then that happens, especially after the Renegade thing, there's no way I play this year. That's a go out on top John Elway, that shit. Get out. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not going through the stress of it again. Like, I'm not doing any of that. Like, that's, so the fact that he still wants to play is like a testament to the anomaly aspect, I think.
Quick hits. I want to get your guys' dark horses for this season. We've talked about the top 3, 4 or so teams. Let's peel back a little bit and look at the teams outside looking in that could find their way into that tier of placement. Austin, we'll go with you first.
Are we looking for just strictly going top 4?
Strictly
or
your dark horse pick for this season.
Or like randomly upstating like a phase or something.
Anyone not in the top 4 currently that you think could crash the party?
Okay. I mean, like the safe bet is probably say TSM, but I think that like
can we pull
maybe
up the pools?
TD, maybe LG, like those 2 out of those that like kind of that tier of teams I think are probably the most likely. I mean, TD is probably the one that could be the biggest dark horse, I think.
Look at these handsome lads. I mean, these guys.
But these guys, do they really count as dark horses, though? Right? Like that's like the issue I'm having. Like they've gotten top 3 at Worlds in this game. Like,
even Cherish with the top 4.
Yeah, then they got top 4 last year. Like
But they're going in with what seed? Are they 6?
No, I think they're like 8th. Yeah. But these guys level up on land too, so it's like I don't think I can call them a dark horse yet.
They're 6.
They are 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it
So what's
feels
their
it's
pool?
strange to call them sixth. Yeah, their pool is FaZe and Peepa, which is the Mighty's second place EU team.
That's a pretty
So,
good pool for them.
Yeah,
Because FaZe is gonna be FaZe has suppressed and Falcated on it too, so like they play against them a lot, like 8s and stuff. So like that's actually like probably a good matchup for TSM in the sense of I think that they'll have like a pretty good matchup against FaZe. Like even like team comp wise. Yeah, I actually think that that's a really good pool for them. And then Pippa's how have they looked this year? I actually haven't watched any of the EU Cups.
they're actually kind of struggling a little bit. I'll be honest, because like they lost, I want to say one of the EU Cups to the third place EU team when it was previously like
I did watch that
Yeah,
series
there's
actually.
a
They lost
big
to like
gap.
Moe's and
they're
Bastos.
previously a big gap between the top two and everybody else there, but people haven't been like as bulletproof against the rest of the competition. I mean, it might have just been that one series, so maybe I'm like overemphasizing it, but
Yeah.
it was surprising to me when I found out they lost to VVS, who will have one of the high seeds in the open bracket.
Yeah,
But
so that's Moe's, Bastos.
Peepa is no, that's the VVS
No,
is that team. Yeah, that
Yeah,
team.
BVS. That's what I was wondering. Yeah,
Pento
I
and
because
Sunrise.
I remember watching them lose that. Yeah, dude,
But-
I don't. That one's a tough one.
Yeah,
But I think that's a pretty good pool for TSM. I think that's a pretty good pool for TSM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but there's a pretty big gap between Nemesis and Peepa heading into this weekend's major qualifier. Nemesis had 24,000 pro points. Peepa had 14,000. So
Oh wow.
almost a
Okay.
double up disparity between Peepa and
Yeah.
Nemesis. And I was not expecting that. Looking at the roster of Jimbo, Mighty, Sika, and Chick, I mean, those are some of the best in EU. So you'd expect it to be almost more Optic Rebellion-like across the
Yeah.
pond, but it's been all Nemesis.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, I think that's pretty favorable for TSM. So, I have trepidation to say that they're a dark horse at all. I think that that's like kind of disrespectful to them at this point because I think they've proven in this game that they are kind of like the gatekeepers of the next like step. So yeah, dark horses. I think TD's probably the biggest dark horse. I know it's a long way to get to that answer, but
Hey, you're just like me for real. Eli, who's your dark horse?
I guess based on Austin's logic, this isn't a dark horse, but I'm gonna say Nemesis. I mean, number one EU. It's gonna be really curious. They haven't had a chance to prove their mettle against any of the North American talent yet this split. So I think with Wootum on the roster now, we didn't previously see Wootum with this group. I just want to see what he does on M&K. I feel like he's still so young. He's still leveling up. I think M&K is busted. I mean, that's what Tim tells me every day anyways. What does that guy know? But it's going to be really fun to watch them play against North American squads. They're in a pool with Reversal, Perfy, and Optic. And then the number 3 open bracket team. I see them finishing second place in that pool, personally. So if they can get second place, and then they would, I think, play against, assuming FaZe wins their pool, they'd probably play FaZe first round of winners. Or does it go the other way? Would they play Shopify? I think it's actually number 1A plays number 2B. So I think they would play Shopify winners round 1, which is a tough matchup.
think
Yeah. Is that right? I think that's how it works.
A plays D, B plays C. I think actually.
A plays D. No, I think it's A, B, and C, D.
Is that what the way
Is
they
it-
do it? Yeah, Infinite is weird. They do it different. They do it like wrong, quote unquote wrong.
They
But-
do it
Tell,
like wrong.
hey, Heinz, you're doing it wrong.
but in my brain, because like 1 plays 4, right, and 2
Yeah,
plays
yeah,
3.
yeah.
So A
That's
should
the
play
way
D,
that I thought about
B
it
should play
too.
C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little bit too much of a disparity. But I don't know. It has caused some really strange brackets where like
Yeah.
one side of the bracket is like clearly
Loaded.
stronger than the other.
Yeah.
So you might
So
be
I
right.
think it was MLG days when we played pools, but A would play D, and B would play C, and it would basically just be like 2 plays 1. Pool or yeah, A2 plays D1, right? That type of thing, and then A1
Yeah.
plays D2, A3 plays
Right,
or
right,
D4. But we also had 5 teams in pools and reach, so I think that might be why. I don't know. I'm not a bracket guy.
We're not bracketologists. We're just armchair
my
scientists.
brain just thinks
just like Halo.
1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
Yeah, I just watch Halo, dude. That's all I do.
All right, so we got TSM and Dark Horse consideration for Mikwen. We got Nemesis and Dark Horse consideration for Eli, and I'm glad we're all going to have different picks. It makes the show a little bit more interesting. Give me Cloud9.
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
good
that's a
one.
good pick.
Time and space. He plays
Look at that mullet.
plays the map very unorthodox, right? He's got an unorthodox style, and I think he draws so many looks, so much attention from the opponents. It allows guys like Manny Sab and Septify, who I'm really excited to watch this year. Give me some more Septify. But Sab, my God, routinely looking at the top right and left of my screen this weekend, and Sab's going like 20-5. He's 18-4. I mean, he was absolutely frying this weekend. So give me some Cloud9. I think that's going to be a really, really dangerous squad to watch at the first major.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that pick.
Sab's been incredible. Can we go back to Sab's stats real quick? I mean, like, I think we were just showing the optic in Shopify so you can see what their damage dealt. Yeah, he's got higher damage dealt per life than these other squads that are at the top. Like, he's been ascending. 1.7 KDA is also pretty crazy. He's been off the chart statistically, and also just winning pivs that he almost has no business winning. Yeah, like
Yeah.
He has no business winning these pivs, and he's just finding a reversal perfect. And yeah, if he can do the same stuff on land, I think this squad, and I think Skeptify and Manny have been two of the most underrated players for a long time. So they did finish 4th place in the Open last weekend, and then this weekend they finished top 8, I guess.
Yeah, so they had that spot that Luminosity ended up claiming ultimately with that 5th spot. It looked like Cloud9 was the more consistent of the bunch. But a slip up in the winner's quarter to Space Station actually made it a little tough go for them in the lower bracket. They got 3-0'd by TSM, but boy, oh boy, Space Station looked like they were about to get sent to the lower bracket a little early. Cloud9, though, I don't know if it's a curse against SSG. They've had some tough times taking them down in Game 5. We recall that one on LAN at Salt Lake City, I believe it was last year, where Cloud9 couldn't get it done. Same thing, almost deja vu-like occurrence in the winter quarterfinal this weekend. Could have been a much different story had Cloud9 found their way to a winner's semifinals, I think.
This is a tough team. I would not want to run into this team at all. They've shown they have a very high upside. They've been taking the big 4 teams to the brink as well. They took SSG, I want to say, to Game 5 last weekend. They've been really showing out. Boo Boo Doo is just such a wild card, man. Like, he can just randomly step up and be the best player on the planet just at any given point in time. And he's such an asset to any squad that he's on. He's been playing some great Halo.
All right, gamers, wrapping up the first ever episode of Tide the Leader live here on LVT. We are just 20 subs away on our YouTube channel, away from reaching 200. So make sure you guys check us out there. I just popped the link in the chat. Before we go, boys, I want to get one last breakdown, one last prediction from you both. So we're going to go 3 predictions, right? Arlington winner, Worlds winner, and your Season 4 MVP. Austin, you first.
All right, I'm breaking the rules because it's too early for Worlds. But Arlington winner, I'm going to go Shop. S4 MVP, I think I'm going to go Last Shot. And yeah, we'll see about Worlds. But
You're just going to make it interesting and throw something out there, you know? First that comes to mind.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be too hard. It's too hard to say. It really is too hard to say because we talk about SSG. Like, if SSG really does pull together, like, I have to go them Worlds. But if they don't, then like, it's really easy to use recency bias and say Shop. So I'm gonna hedge my bets and go with the 2 safer bets that I can actually predict. I can actually make for sure.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Eli, who you got, brother?
I'm going to go Shop, Cycle.
Wow,
Okay. Yeah, I think Cycle's going to be filling out a lot of commendations. Could we have someone who wins Best Support Player and Best Slayer because Cycle could literally be that dude that just like takes a couple steps to the left on the main stage and wins both awards. He's that good. So I think Cycle's a good pick for MVP. And interestingly enough, we do all agree in this respect. We all got Shopify Rebellion taking home the MVP and Worlds as well, it sounds like. So I got Shopify winning Worlds. I got Optic winning Arlington. And I agree with Austin. Give me Last Shot winning MVP. That dude is absolutely sick nasty. Eli, we had the blessing to watch Last Shot years and years and years ago when he won the national championship. I should say the world championship in the free-for-alls. And there was just something in that moment that made us think this guy might be up next because he was hitting like 80% of his shots in the best free-for-all lobby at the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special talent for sure. I did want to, I guess, I'm going to actually change my MVP pick to Frosty. I think Frosty is going to be
That's a good one too.
MVP because he just feels different right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. We just had him on the show. But I think one of my other predictions is going to be that these teams are not going to be the same by the time Worlds comes around.
Ooh, you think there'll be a
Even
change?
Rebellion, you think, breaks up?
No, not Rebellion. I think Rebellion stick it out.
You think there's a phase in SSG?
I think there might be a phase SSG merger at some point or like shake up. If they're both still not playing up to their standard, I mean,
Yeah.
we've all played, everyone in this call has played Halo long enough to know that if a team's not winning, there's a chance probably higher than 50% that they break up in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, it'll definitely. I think after you lose like 2 in a row, I think the thoughts start to creep in,
Yeah.
like inevitably.
Yeah.
There's no way
Make a
around
change.
Yeah, you get to the midway split, and if you're not standing on the 2 feet you want to be standing on, we're going to see some team changes.
Yeah,
It
that
could
worm
just be a
creeps
whole
in.
other roster mania. -2, because I don't think Optic or Rebellion make any changes this year. Well, it's been a fun time hanging with you guys on the first ever live episode of Tide the Leader. Eli, this has been awesome since we've been doing this for a year now in podcast form, so I think we did pretty well for ourselves on live, a little biased, but GG's to you, my friend, my duo. And Mikwen, a returning guest who was with us all the way through the live episode. This might have to be a trio that we take on to the next episode, so I don't know what your availability is looking like, but for everybody in the chat, we want to do this after every tournament, if not every big online tournament. I mean, I'm down. I love talking shop and cooling down after some insane HCS action. So do look forward to hopefully another episode here on LVT. And if you guys missed
Probably
the episode,
next weekend
yeah,
after
if you
KSON.
missed this episode, you can check us out on the Tide the Leader YouTube channel. But I think for sure we're going to do a recap again after the KSON event next week. So thank you guys to everyone for tuning in. It's been an incredible weekend here on LVT. Final thoughts from you guys first before we go. Mikwen, what do you got?
It's going to be. I think Case Online is going to be pretty sick. This is going to be a sick year Halo, and thanks for having me on. And it's just fun to do for sure.
Love that. Cool. Well, I guess this is my cue. I was expecting Mikowski to cue me up, but whatever. I guess I can't count
It
on
was
him
so
now. All good.
perfectly tossed to your way. I thought, there's nothing else needed to be said. Maybe that was the perfect closer.
Yeah, I mean, this was a lot of fun. I love you guys. I love the Halo community. I love Halo in general. Everybody in chat, you guys are awesome for showing up every single week. There's so many of you guys. Everybody that's in chat right now, I have seen your name in LVT chat at least 10 different tournaments. So I know you guys are like the real ones. If you're still hanging out, very much appreciated. Please follow the podcast. We've already re-released the remastered Best Man interview from a year ago, and we're remastering the Wutum episode. And we're going to be re-releasing everything on the new Tide the Leader channel to have it all under one roof. So please do subscribe to the channel. It helps us out quite a bit. So that's all I got.
All right. Phenomenal episode and some great feedback from the chat. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It really does. Just like Piggy was saying, right? A competitor, it feels good when you see some nice things said about you. It kind of gasses you up a little bit. Makes you want to get right back to it and work harder for the next one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll watch some VOD review of our own. I'll find a way to dwindle down my long-winded questions into a little bit more pointed conversation. And until we meet again, which will be next Saturday after the KSON LAN. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Tide the Leader Live. Catch you then.